So loud music going for a little too long and fingers twitching always makes a fun way of doing stuff. So making sure all the cameras are actually working, because that's always a fun thing when they don't work. So today at the table we'll get people to introduce themselves, starting with Jeremy as he's about to duck off for a little bit.
Oh, good evening all. Yes, I'm playing Atruaghin, the Atruaghin came into the clans and now chieftain of the Dragon clan, or Dragon tribe, that's the size of the clan, and one who started life as a watchman for his local tribe, but been chosen by Atruaghin himself to lead his people and potentially lead them into a very interesting future. Based on where we went last time, and I'm not, because the exact image specifically does not have some of the information some of the other characters got, he's happy to follow the lead of the others, although if the opportunity to have a bit more of an explore of that dungeon where we found the archaeologist, he'd be curious to have a closer look at some of the markings on that, but happy that will be another time if it's already passed on.
I know they finished the session outside, which I'll get to, so when you get back you'll be updated.
All good. Thanks very much all. I will be back shortly.
So that's why I made sure Jeremy got his up front. Then we'll do Paul.
Who is Claw, the blue black hair coloured pretty boy, elf, healer, diplomat, warlock and all round nice guy and snappy dresser.
He is definitely the snappy dresser. He's very most impressive.
Yes. And yeah, when I actually spend some real money on my clothes, it's going to get even better. Also, clan leader and various other things.
Then we have Jeff.
I'm Autolycus, gambler, sailor, chancer of fate, gambler.
And all round cool guy.
Not a bad thing to be multiple stuff.
No. Gotta be cool, don't all that good.
Well, you can define your charisma as being more coolness than attractiveness.
And you could have the musical voice but a face like a pizza.
Yes, that's actually how some AD&D defined charisma.
I remember when they had it as two different stats.
Well, that was an option.
No, it was skills and powers, I believe.
I know Thakana. Yeah, but they defined it as force of personality and presence more than attractiveness, and gave Hitler as an example of charisma 18.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
He had a massive amount.
He had huge amounts of it.
And really, if he didn't,
Yeah.
then what does that say about the world?
So what I'm hearing is Autolycus and Lonnie need to have a traveling roadshow of feats of strength of some kind.
I think this is
And
a good
old
point.
Barker,
There we go.
right?
I've got the jazz boots
You're
Yeah,
there
yeah.
to make the cool goodies in the background.
and,
And-
the dancing lights.
and sell the coffee and sweets.
Man.
Yep. There you go.
Pretty much coffee and cookies.
As well as anyone who objects. Meat back on the menu!
On that note, I'm Calbrix, the mostly white dragon, the jazz band.
And also Ariadna.
I prefer to be known as Calbrix.
You're
I am a character. That's why I'm always around making coffee. And accompanying me is my faithful companion, Grindelwolf the Brewmaster, my coffee gnome, and Eep, my friend from the Queen of Darkness. My constant source of moments of spontaneous happiness and instance of I'm not sure whether or not we're safe in the same room with you.
Yes.
like it.
Oh, that's okay. That there are multiple things that people go, is that safe? It's not like it's going to kill us. And then the next response is, well, killing us doesn't end the story. We can be brought back.
Yeah.
As long as
The
there's
Queen
someone
of
who's capable
Darkness
of
is
doing
fully
it.
in support of that, which is
Who doesn't
why-
die?
But most of the gods do intervene, just that there's a price every time.
I know.
It's a lot cheaper to actually have someone else bring you back than have the gods intervene directly.
I have revived for a reason.
Which brings us to Kesley,
All
who
right.
hasn't died yet.
I have not died yet. Definitely not off the table. But
So Kesley, the presently undying.
Basically the presently undying with Lonnie, the undying. Asterisk, thanks to Lull. But, yeah, she is Kupla Lonnie Al-Kai. She goes by Lonnie. She is an Kai human fighter, weapons master, former sailor. Basically, tank. Likes to hit things. And over time has learned to be good at quite a few things. Not the best, but pretty good. Here for a good time, here for a long time. She's a human, get it? And yeah, lots of cool stuff that she wants to do in her life, including earning as many titles as possible. So
Well, you've been getting them along the way.
yeah, absolutely,
There's always one more around the corner.
absolutely.
And you do have traveling with you a Dragonborn who doesn't always advertise who he works for. Doesn't really tell you what he does. And he's occasionally helpful. Occasionally.
Yes.
I'd like to say more than occasion. Provides hugs. I find that very helpful.
Well, he did start off with, he was only traveling with you until you died to get your stuff and return it home. That you had, that the party at the time had swindled out of his followers.
True. Which party was that? Is that the original Wednesday group or the
That
original
was the original Tuesday group.
Tuesday group?
Yeah. That they thought it was fantastic to be able to trade shiny beads for these fantastical sounding weapons and armor and gear. So they're basically dealing with children who didn't know what they were selling. And they were more than happy to keep taking advantage of them.
I am pleased not to be a part of that group, though I don't think it would have been entirely the group's fault from what I'm understanding of the situation.
Well, when they found out what they had done, they were going to give it all back until they were told he'll take it back over their dead body. Which would be more than happy to
I'm
oblige
guessing
doing.
this was prediction rather than threat.
They couldn't tell.
Oh,
And when each of them did die, he did take his stuff back and whatever else they were carrying.
Helpful. I don't think Alcrix has died yet,
She has not.
and I'm hoping she doesn't, but she will for the right cause. And just because today's balancing feat needs a little bit of level up.
Ba-bam. Brilliant. Love
Well, she was making sure that
Wait till I can roll dice. They'll all go. Love it.
multiple dragons down would be interesting. So you had travelled out to the Yalarum Desert excavation site to find out what was happening at this temple.
This temple.
You didn't actually know it was a temple at the time.
yeah.
Turned out it is a temple dedicated to the dead
Yeah.
and not the sphere of entropy.
Because that would be a temple dedicated to death.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a temple dedicated to the dead, not death. That's a completely different
Exactly
thing.
right.
Which normally means matter and entropy, but in this case it appears to be a balanced temple of death, about the
Okay.
5 afterlives, one for each sphere,
Yes.
whichever one was most appropriate to the person.
Yes.
And you had investigated
So actually going to the afterlife, not being held from it.
Yes,
Yes.
as long as you were deemed worthy, or those who prepared you were deemed worthy,
Yeah.
as the case may be. As you found out with Trolicus failing to impress a Naga.
Yes.
Yes.
And the rumors were that a great weapon was hidden in the energy or fire section, hidden away from the world, and required the opening of the other 4 elements at the same time to allow you to access the energy, which is also what was a lot of the nobility of Nithya had as the afterlife they were destined to go to.
Yeah.
'Cause
Which is research we can do as long as we don't tell a god about it.
or go too far close to their artifacts that erase memory.
Yes.
It's part of the information the archaeologist was digging into was what exactly caused this civilization to be wiped from the face of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one knows that. Players may speculate, characters may be told, but the characters themselves have no proof one way or the other what
Yeah.
caused them to be wiped out.
Yes, because any actual proper evidence has probably been carefully destroyed before memory of it's been destroyed. Because gods do that shit.
They do.
I just don't want to forget sort of evolutionary structure. But as soon as we start to play, I'd like to get the Ridgeron stuff.
Okay. So the last bit was you had managed to find the archaeologist dead, having been in a shrine to the Queen of Darkness. And you got her out, well, her body out. And we finished the session with you taking them outside the tombs of the dead.
And Lull was looking through the journal. Because I've got
Yes.
notes from the journal here saying a thing about the 4 doors. And
That she had a key to Mazaki.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Mazakane key.
I had a question. The Shrine of the Queen of Darkness was hidden within the Temple
Of the dead.
of the Dead in one of the sections.
It wasn't one of the places you take the dead to.
Right, like it was like it just was there, but it's not part of the 5 of the Temple.
And there was another one that was dedicated to time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They were kind of like bonus places in the sense that they're not supposed to necessarily be there, but they're a good place to put them as far as I can tell.
it's more that the entropy is a major player in death, as is time.
Yeah.
But they are not, as far as you know, major players in the Nithian culture.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Whereas the god of time, Alkadim, and Proteus are the main gods of the region now, as everyone prays to them, because there's also a lack of water in the region.
Yes, and they're just like, oh, please. Yeah.
So they are following the gods of time, who are also the water gods.
Yes.
And I guess if the Queen of Darkness had a way, they'd all be undead, and they either eat brains or blood, so there wouldn't be a problem.
Not all undead need to
I'm
eat.
joking.
Vampires just like to suck.
This is why they invest in jumpers.
Blood favoured.
Cool. So I think that was all my questions that I had from the video. So yeah.
So you've got the Staff of Retreat. You're looking at the gem. Do you
Yes.
want to do anything else between the four of you here while Jeremy's away?
Well, I'll wait to talk to Rita until he gets back. Is there any more that I can get out of the journal? We didn't actually get much from the journal, did we?
No,
No, you didn't.
yeah, she didn't know what the item was, but
Yeah.
considering it was locked behind a fifth door that required 4 other doors being opened, and those being major ceremonies,
A little bit of an issue.
it was believed to be a weapon of mass destruction.
Right.
Which we probably want to leave locked behind that door anyway.
And weapons of mass destructions can be an idea, an item, a creature, could even be a disease that they've locked behind the door.
As
Yeah.
we had previous discussions about charisma and hero. What he was selling was a concept. That almost destroyed the world.
Yes.
You know what else could be?
Yeah. Yeah. Coronavirus. We live in a world.
Skin
that's-
changer.
A virus that turns you into a Nazi.
Divine caster.
Which one's that one? Yeah.
Would be even worse if you're called Skinwalker and you had to take the skin off someone else to walk in.
Because that's what skinwalkers
Don't
do.
be this creepy boy. voice.
No.
No, skin changer is just as bad, except you don't nick it from other people.
They're druids who are good at being animals.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Though I do have another.
I like that.
I do have a warlock who pinches the druid stick, except he turns into monstrosities instead of beasts and plants.
That's pretty
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the new movie to come out.
Oh, I saw it.
I want to go and see
Yeah,
it.
it was pretty good.
What's
Yeah.
this?
I
The
would
new
put it-
D&D movie.
I would put it akin to most
I-
superhero movies.
I
It's good.
have the very
So
reviews
did it
I've
feel
seen.
well written?
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, it's well written, well acted. The story's pretty good. It doesn't hew to D&D as written,
Yeah.
and it's one of the complaints that people have about.
I would give it a maybe.
D&D is not cinematic.
No, but it is actually
I
very
know.
much so. It's a superhero game.
No, I mean from
But-
the point of a lot of the stuff is low key until you get to higher levels.
Yeah, even
they've got a
mid-level,
bunch of the
still.
YouTube podcasters / DMs
Yeah.
go over it, and they look at things like like the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Definitely has Tavern Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other
Yeah,
things
there's
too
definitely different actions.
is they've actually published characters for the movie on
Yeah.
WotC's site,
Yeah.
and one of the complaints somebody has is they're not 5e.
Yeah.
They're 1D&D. And you can see the differences in what they're trying to do with 1D&D, but there's enough differences that you would actually have to notably modify them to use them in their 5e game.
Anything that there's always going to be somebody who's going to be unhappy with something they put on there.
Of course
That's how it
they
always is, and like that's why when the
Yeah.
trailer was first coming out, everybody was upset the Drew turning into an owlbear.
Yeah.
The director said, "Well, we took the first rule of D&D, which was the rule of pool, and we just let her turn into an
Yeah.
owlbear."
You know what's going to
Yeah, the
happen? There's going to be a source book that's going to come out very, very soon
Yeah.
with a druid, or one of the alternative things where they can swap out one of their things
Yeah.
to become a
There is-
monstrosity.
Yeah,
I don't
the-
believe that's going to come out
No.
until 1D&D.
Yeah.
And
But
Yeah,
there's,
it will come
because
out.
the stuff that they've got
Yeah.
listed doesn't include that level
yeah.
of stuff.
There is the other side of it though.
my point
Yeah.
was
Is
that
one
at
of the
some point
changes
very
they've
soon
made
there will be some rule
For
somewhere that
both
allows it to happen.
Beastmaster Ranger
I've got that rule.
and
I already
the
include that rule
Druid
in my
Yeah.
training.
is it doesn't matter
So
what animals
druids
you
can
change into.
learn to turn
you
into
have the same
undead if they
stats.
wish to.
Yeah. should
So
change
you can
it
change into an owlbear.
if you want. Yeah.
It's the same as you changing into a cat.
The director has a homebrew class for druids.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, to
Yeah.
end the conversation, to
Yes,
go back to our
so-
game,
Yep.
I would rate the movie maybe like a 7.58 out of 10.
Yeah, it's rather good.
It's pretty good.
I
So it
re-
was entertaining, that's all we need to know.
Yeah,
It's 100% worth watching.
Not as bad
Yes.
as previous D&D.
yeah. If I
still need to watch this.
get the job I just went for the job interview for, I'm going to treat myself and go and watch it.
Ooh, fingers crossed.
Hopefully you do get it, and hopefully
Yes.
you're not disappointed.
So
Yes.
we go through the archaeologist journal.
Yes, going through the journal to see if there's anything else of interest in there. I'm presuming not a hell of a lot because the interesting stuff is stuff she hasn't discovered yet.
Well,
Which is a shame.
she did find the point of having to open all 4 doors at once,
Which is the important
which
part.
was not anywhere in the tomb. She found that in another location,
Yep.
Okay.
and that location was in the Hollow World.
Wow.
Basically doing some research down there, and had
So-
discovered that this place existed in their records.
I may have missed
Right.
it. How did we figure out how she died?
We found it
Calcrix actually asked the Queen of Darkness what happened.
and got a vision of it.
really wants to talk to the Red Dragon right now because Calcrix has
Relating
all of her. But this part might not. It'll cover the old ground of what we did in the last game, which was she's got the memories of the moment she unlocked the tomb to the moment she died, and she's got
which is
all of the pictures, and she wants to pass all of that information on the Red Dragon, which
Okay,
is
so
kind
that'll
of
be answered there.
what I wanted to
While it's still
do
fresh.
up
Yeah.
front,
Yeah.
and I
We were
figured.
just waiting on Jeremy.
Well, Jeremy might be a little while, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jeremy can also read.
All right. Well, how about we start this and you go through your part
Yeah,
because by the time you're done,
yeah.
Jeremy should
might
be back.
and that was
And
what my
he does.
thinking was.
Yeah, and he doesn't because he was there. He doesn't need to listen to you go through your bit.
Yeah, that's why I thought we could like
So we'll do that.
cover both.
All right.
both
So there's okay. Basically, from my point of view, there's nothing really much I can get out of this. Calcrick's got a hell of a lot more than I can get out of the book. Nicely done there. I know it was a gift, but nicely done there.
So one of the things I wanted to ask Martin about was whether or not you and I can share memories if there's a spell. Because then I can share the memories of everything she saw with you.
Yeah.
There are.
There are, but they're wizard spells.
And you're a sorcerer.
I'm a warlock.
Oh.
So I have a very limited list.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if there is a scroll of it, I
Yeah.
can use that.
Well, that might be something that we do with Redrin as well, because if I'm sharing the memories with Redrin,
Well, that's the
we
thing.
might be able to share them with you as
If
well.
Redrin can cast that spell for us, we can all share the memories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then everyone gets the benefit. Sorry
That's
for
right.
the interruption, that's why I
No,
wanted
that's
to
fine.
pass it on.
Yeah.
I think Martin's looking it up for us.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for things not to break.
Oh no.
Please don't break.
Please.
Yes. Yes. I did find Sapping Strike, by the way.
What's that?
Spell I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I don't have any spells that
no,
do
no, no.
a memory thing. I just
No,
checked.
this is something else. It's a con save. There's no roll to hit.
What
So
is it,
you
though?
really want it on a caster. It's a short range cantrip that doesn't do a hell of a lot of damage. It does have a really nice thing though. Basically, I don't roll to hit. You roll to save,
Right,
and
yeah.
if you fail, you take like a D4
Yeah,
necrotic damage, and you're prone.
yeah. So the
Which
prone
means
bit
if
is...
you're airborne, you're now falling.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you grab me the player's handbook from the middle
Honestly, yeah.
pile?
And the thing is, the big thing is, it's the only spell in 5th ed where the size of your opponent doesn't matter.
There's quite a few
Yeah.
that the size doesn't
So
matter.
I could do, literally, I could go if
It's a shame you can't cast it on a tree. Say, a tree on a great big disc.
If it were mobile, if it were self-mobile, I could. It has to be able to move on its own to fall prone.
Yeah, it might not be so well.
No, it's not. It's got the portal moving top of the mountain to move it around. But if you can persuade a great red dragon to fail a con save, the red dragon is now prone. You just got to get something with a con of 24 to fail a con save.
I think dragons have favourite constitution size.
No,
Trying to look for a different book and trying to figure out which book if it's over there.
Well, they've also got legendary actions being what they
I
are.
choose to make my
Because there are
Yes.
multiple spells that actually deal with
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's a cantrip. I can do it every round. You've only got so many legendary actions. On the other hand, you've seen. So hey.
Wouldn't telepathic bond work?
Telepathic bond,
that's-
possibly. But there's one.
Like a specific one.
Yeah.
The deep magic should be on the shelf right behind you.
Big magic.
Yeah, I see it.
Should literally be right behind his head.
Oh, there we go. That one. Yeah.
It's easy to pass it under the
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
There's more muscles on the right side than you think that object to lifting books.
You're just like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though I'm doing it with my left hand, because I get some people who are like, oh, but it's your left hand, it's fine, right? You're like, you'd be
It's-
surprised how they pull.
It's less unfine. That's.
It would be nice if they had have actually put a page number for all their spells because they didn't put them in order.
Oh. And there's no index.
There is an index, but it's not an index of
That's a
spells.
contents.
So that's what I'm saying. It would have been helpful
Yeah.
if they had done a page number thing of all the
Yes.
spells.
Yeah,
that-
index rather
that's-
than contents.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always had a problem with
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun and Worlds of Darkness was really sketchy contents page and no index, just so they can get another 10 pages worth of content in.
Yeah.
It means you had to have read it and remembered where things were to find it.
Yeah,
And that's bloody stupid.
I'd
Especially-
happily pay for a second book and have an index in that case because I don't have a
Yeah.
memory.
Well, they did the same thing with Mongoose Traveller 2nd edition, and one of the absolute favourite downloads, fan-made downloads, is an index for main rulebook.
Yeah. And I guess maybe they're also relying on that. They're like, we'll get the 10 pages of content and we'll just wait for some dedicated fan to spend all their time doing it instead.
Which is friggin' rude.
Yeah.
I'll pay for an extra 10 pages over you doing that.
Yeah. And I will too, because not everyone has a functioning memory, or a memory that's functioning enough to remember all of one book.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not using it every day type.
Yeah, well what gets annoying with that is that a lot of the material in there that isn't the very basic material. So
I may need you to actually dig out another book.
It was in a different book.
I have a Midgard Heroes Handbook. Not exactly sure where that's sitting in the pile of books there.
Midgard. I'm going to start from...
It will be an orange spine.
Yeah.
Expedition, Isle of the Dead, Scarlet Citadel.
Pathfinder, so that's it.
Most likely directly behind Jeff, if it is anywhere.
Oh, I see it. Where your hand is, just go straight forward.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
Oh.
Right in front of my hand.
But I couldn't see it because of the paper in the way.
Thank you.
Damn you, paper.
And at least I was right about the colour.
There's one good thing about having the library is you can just pick out books.
Yes.
The other thing about the library is that it's...
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure that he's going to run out of space.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to start rehoming some of the boxes into cupboards eventually.
Yeah, one of the that's the
With our
spells
first
I was
new mark,
mentioning
the
earlier.
first
None of
2
them
or
are
3
in level
years.
up.
So all
They've
of
left
these
it out because
magazines,
you can
trying
do
to
so
download
much from it, I'm
those
presuming.
again. I'm like, let's just recycle those magazines. And Mark's just like, no.
I know
See, now
each
you
of the
see the value.
I know each of the words you just said, but they don't mean anything to me.
Okay,
Well, they're resources.
so there are spells that can do it,
Exactly.
just that they're not available to things you've learned.
Okay.
The gnomes can do it.
Yeah.
Ah, well, you know, I have Grindelwald.
Is it steam powered?
It's about how they are happy to make the equivalent of Warforged, but they do it as a penalty to people who fail their legal system.
Right.
It's a penance, not a choice.
Right. However, I can actually see people turning up and saying, "Hi, could you make me one?" Would they do it?
No. Because they're the only ones who benefit from it, and they're not free-willed. So if anyone does get made into one, you'll become an automaton where your soul is powering it, and
You're not an embodied soul. You're a soul-powered machine.
yes,
So yeah, it is actually punishment, and that's not actually a warforged.
yes.
It's a goal.
And Warforged may show up after the war if the gnomes lose control of their golems.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, the golems are basically, if you think of it this way, the golems are a failed warforged. Somebody actually manages to complete a proper prototype of what the golems actually are, and makes an actual warforged.
As far as they're concerned, the Warforged are a failed golem. So they would go out of their way to destroy the Warforged.
Unless there's enough of them to stop them. Yeah.
Well, as far as they're concerned, they're uncontrolled and they have the technology to just strip the souls off them.
Yeah. Bit of a bastard on the warforged, mind you.
Yeah.
But they're already criminals to start with.
And all I'm back, so well,
There you go.
Yeah.
All good.
See? And we haven't even quite done it yet.
Yeah. So yes, we've got to the point of we're about to turn the switch on for the radio to Redrin.
marvellous.
They were asking me if there was a way to magically share memories. And there are spells to do so, but the gnomes are the only ones who use that sort of magic, because it's related to the stripping of souls from living people to empower machines.
Yes.
Oh, well, no,
yeah.
I don't think the memories are worth quite that much. I think
Yeah.
Calcrix might just work on a very detailed journal.
Yeah,
The
there is
thing to
there
get
is
the
a
memory
telepathy
does,
spell.
the thing to get the memory doesn't
So-
do that, but it's in the branch of magic that does that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, actually, an illusion spell, which you keep up, where you can actually play it as a video, that would work.
Can I do that?
You haven't learnt illusions in that way.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say I don't think I have.
Is a useful illusion low enough for me to go and get a scroll of it and us use that?
Possibly, but that would be then a future thing you'd go out and get.
Yeah. Like
You're in the wrong country to get a lot of that stuff. You'd be at least 2 to 3 weeks away from a country that you can buy it from.
Yeah.
Could she just say what she remembers?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
That
But
was
then
where
use
we're going.
prestidigitation just for emphasis.
in terms,
You can illustrate it.
In terms of the reason why Calcrix wants to share the memories, there's a lot of walls, a lot of images on them.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
And Redrian's thing was not necessarily saving the archaeologist's life. He needs the knowledge that she gained, and the knowledge will be those walls that she saw.
Yeah.
So that's one chapter.
So Redrian can probably copy the memories from your mind, but he's not necessarily going to show it to anyone else.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Which is
I said
fine.
it to be a nice thing, and I was expecting Martin to go, "No, you can't do that," or "Yes, you can do that." I wasn't expecting it to be a 15-minute.
Well, I knew I could do it, I just
the
couldn't remember
possibility is
where from, and I knew which references to look at. It's just that when I finally got the reference, it was like, oh, that's why it's not currently in the game.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay, so yes, you've gotten the staff, you activate it, and you manage to speak to Redrian. He asks, how has your journey gone?
Are you controlling the staff, or am I? Because Calcrix won't be rude and talk over you,
Nope.
unless she's holding the staff, in which case she'll just...
I established the communication.
Everyone hears it though.
Greeting and so on, and everyone can hear it. And at this point, because this is where the knowledge presently exists, I hand over to Calcrix for the story.
Greetings, Redrian.
Yes. How's things going?
We found your archaeologist, alas, her life has been lost to the quest you sent her. I was, however, extremely fortunate to have come across a, what are they called? It's not a tomb.
A shrine.
Temple. A temple, a shrine for my good friend the Queen of Darkness. And her priest was there. And when I asked them for knowledge on the fate of the archaeologist, I was blessed with all of her memories from the moment of opening the tomb to her unfortunate passing. So in the sense that you would like to share this information, I have been making a lot of sketches which I can send to you, but you may also find a lot of those memories useful in that there is a lot of imagery on the walls and the walls here pertaining to 4 different areas which lead to 4 different doors which might unlock a 5th door. And I believe that was what your archaeologist was attempting to do when she was still alive.
Are you able to bring her back?
We have her body, yes. Can we
Can
resurrect
you-
her?
Raise her
Unable-
from the dead.
Unable to resurrect, I only have revivify. And
You
that,
do trouble with 2 priests.
well, there is Drazzle, who
yeah.
we could probably ask if he could do a resurrection.
Drazzle?
Drazzle's currently writing in his book. He never talks to Redrian.
Oh, okay. I can see if Drazzle or who's our other priest?
That would be Drachnomir.
Who does not
Dracula.
have the spell.
He does not have this.
Probably not with levels. I think it's
oh God.
his level
This is
spell.
a 5th level spell.
Yeah.
At this stage, we can see if Drazzle's able to bring her back
Yes.
to life.
I will go and ask him while you talk.
Yes. Can't remember your name. Cool. We'll make those inquiries right this moment.
So you walk over to Drazzle. You see he's busily drawing some sketches in his book.
Yes, I walk away from the staff. It stays upright.
If needed, Calcrix would have grabbed it and...
Yeah. Drizzle, I have a question to ask of you. It has nothing to do with the conversation that's over there at the moment.
He shows you a picture. It's you standing, holding the staff, having the conversation.
Nice work. Is it possible... Have you given me a supply of cookies to... The gnome comes over and hands me one.
The gnome comes over with a bag of cookies.
Yes. Here, thank you for your work.
He takes the cookie.
Yes. Do you presently have a resurrection spell in mind?
My mind does not contain a resurrection spell, he says.
Is it possible to do so soon? We have...
Possibilities are endless.
Excellent. So, could you please prepare yourself to resurrect the archaeologist that we have found?
Give me a day.
Very well. Tomorrow.
No, need day.
I know. Today is today. Tomorrow is a day away. There's a day.
If I start tomorrow, I still need day.
Start now, please, to do the resurrection tomorrow. There is a day.
Resurrection takes day.
Yes.
Just leave Drowsy
I'm
to do
just
it.
giving it to you for the start. So, we've established the timing. And yes, I do know how long it takes to fast. As soon as can be done.
He nods.
We would like the archaeologist alive. It's a shame that she has died, and her employer wants her back as well. Plus, we need the information in her head.
Information already gathered.
Her view of things, not just her memories.
Has thoughts and memories.
We still need her back.
What about the rest of her?
Need her returned to us.
Okay. You can tell he's having fun playing with your words.
Oh yes, and I'm used to Drazzle.
I'm fairly sure this is just a game in itself.
Oh, it is a game in itself. Otherwise, I'd be incredibly precise to start with, and he wouldn't have any fun.
And he might not do it.
He might not have got a cookie.
I think it's funny because Lull uses lots of fancy long sentences with lots of fun words. And Drazzle's like 2 words.
Yes,
This is why Lion
And
has
it's-
to be long.
and it's blindingly obvious eventually that I have to use these long words to say the right thing carefully enough. Because if I do the same thing in short words, it takes longer.
Well, it becomes like a wish with Drazzle. He'll
Oh,
take
yeah.
you very literally.
Oh yeah.
Should be
Yes.
brought back to life. It should be like a zombie.
No, that's not life though. That's just reanimation.
Yes.
Yes. We need to
I
remove
will
him so we
point
can talk
out-
to her. That would be a zombie.
And what does Drake
I will point out that if anyone had ever asked Jack Nimmer if he was willing to cast Raise Dead or Resurrect or something like that, his response would have been the idea of, well, he'd asked the ancestors, and the ancestors did not feel that this person was worthy of returning.
Yes. But
I will relay-
I know the level of cleric knowledge you're at, so
I know.
so I'm not going to do it.
I will relay to Redrin that will make every effort to resurrect the archaeologist. Including making a special batch of cookies if needed. Once she is resurrected, does he want us to get back in contact, or does he want us to escort her somewhere?
Well, you should probably ask her.
Okay, alright, so just get her resurrected and get her to where she wants to go?
At least find out what she needs.
Okay, alright, yeah. Is there anything else in the meantime you would like us to do, like, instead of, well, I guess we'll just call him back in another couple of days when she's resurrected, is that right?
Well, it's just, well, You probably can. He's in the middle of doing some stuff at the moment, but whatever you can to help gain more knowledge will also be useful.
Well, I guess what I mean is we can. No, I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm just going to leave it there and give the staff back to Claw and see if he's got any more questions.
He does suggest that you record what you know.
Yeah, I will make my off time will be spent drawing lots of pictures with there'll be Cowquick lying on the ground drawing, Drazzle probably sitting next to her, and then there'll be Grindle Waffle. Cowquicks will have these beautiful precise sketches. Grindle Waffle will have kind of like these cartoony type stick figure sketches, and then Eep will be drawing and she'll have like this scribble there.
It'll look like a bush.
Yeah, that's it. Everything's a bush. And she'll be enthusiastic about all of them.
I'm going to teach you how to do the quick version of Eep making a picture of a bush.
Yeah.
And here I thought you were
Get ink all down one side and go whack.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here I thought you were going to say that Eep makes tiny photorealistic pictures.
She might do.
Of
It might be
coffee beans.
in amongst all of the scribbling, so
Yes.
she can't actually see
But
it.
you have to be at her perspective to see it.
Yes.
Okay, so Drazzle says he will take about a day to do, and you see him get out his ritual book and materials.
Excellent.
If we're going to be
Does Red Dream need us to
making
go
for a
back
day,
into the
then
ruins?
Jack Nimmer's certainly keen to go back down into the tombs to take a closer look at the iconography and mechanisms on the walls and things,
Yeah.
because of the fact that there was certainly some correlation to Atruaghin rituals and practices, which he was surprised to see this far away from the plateau.
Are all,
Yeah.
are all the rooms safe and clear now, or they're still...
Probably not.
Well, you haven't been in all the rooms.
No. Okay, so we haven't been in all the rooms.
No,
But that doesn't mean we can't go back in there.
No, that's the point was that we went in there with the specific focus of trying to find the archaeologists.
yes.
While there, we managed to save a few of the followers and bring them out.
Now we have
Basically,
other,
as soon as we did that, we came out
Yep.
to let them know.
Now we have other purposes.
Yeah, there's a reason she was trying to actually investigate these particular ruins. And, well, again, from Jack Dimmer's perspective, the more obvious solution to finding out the knowledge he was seeking is to actually go and look, rather than trying to resurrect her.
Yeah.
Well, there's no reason why we couldn't do both.
Well, considering gaining the knowledge is different than resurrecting her, because resurrecting her doesn't necessarily gain you the knowledge.
Yeah.
No.
But it gives us someone who's used to being an archaeologist and knows how it's done, which has its
Well,
own
I mean, it's
reasons.
also, apparently, someone that then can also Adrian specifically wants returned.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Right? It's a life that we do want returned. Strictly, what we should be doing is resurrect all the adventurers, but we'll leave that up to her, and her negotiating with Drazzle.
Well, none of the others died.
Okay, so all the followers
That's my
survived.
point.
right?
She's
Yeah,
the
you
only
managed to
one
save
away.
all the followers.
Yes, because we're good.
But you do hear some hammering coming from Drazzle.
I look over what Drazzle is up to.
He seems to be hammering something into the chest of the body. It sparkles.
Okay, you know what one of the material components for a resurrection spell is? 500 GP worth of diamonds. He's inserting it in her.
That's how the ritual is done, I assume. I don't know. I don't do
I've
this.
never ever seen it done like that.
Well, everyone
heard
has
of
their
it.
own way of doing it.
That's very true, and it's Drazzle, which means it's going to be incredibly direct and probably violent. So yes, I'm going to embed the diamonds in your sternum.
Well, if it's going to take him a while to do so, he doesn't want anyone running off with it.
Yes, there's that too.
So perhaps while Drazzle prepares, we can take the opportunity to continue to search the ruins.
You
Yeah. I'll go with Drazzle. I don't know if anybody else wanted to stay with Drazzle, but I assume he's okay with like the body, the followers, and
You'll be here. You'll be okay for the moment.
Okay, so is anyone going to watch what Drizzle does, or are you going to go into the ruins?
Drizzle's doing Drizzle things. Ruins time.
Ruins time.
Yep.
I presume Drizzle doesn't need protection.
No, not
Well, there
really.
are still the followers of the person he's bringing
Or
back.
assistance.
So you do have another dragon here, a fighter of some sort, and I think it was the...
There was a bard, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it was a bard.
They're
Yeah.
all awake and all that.
They're all awake and alive and healthy-ish
And do they seem
because I did medical
civil?
stuffs.
They seem fairly civil.
Do they seem trustworthy?
That was it.
Can we trust them?
Well, you don't know. You've never seen them before.
So yeah, we should keep an eye on them.
Can I? Would it be just do a perception check, or do I need to actually
Yeah,
ask questions?
That would be an insight check if you want to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll do an illustration.
Well, this is where I could sort of wave some
So
money at them,
awful
persuade them.
God.
Look, can you continue with your job? We're about to resurrect your boss.
Nope, not for me. I see nothing.
Could you pass me the
Wasn't
adventurous
an actual
knife?
one, but it wasn't.
This one.
Yeah.
It's okay. I only got a 10. I'm just like,
This thing needs its own
Yeah, I
wheels.
got like a 9.
yeah, I got a 10. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
They seem fairly trustworthy.
Drizzle, if Dreadnought wants to go back down to the tombs, do you want somebody to stay here with you? I don't mind keeping you company if you would like me
He points to his horse,
to. His horse. Yes.
which is sitting rather unhorse-like near him.
Horse is always good.
And bloody scary.
I don't think horse is scary. It's very comfortable and like.
I think he's absolutely terrifying. Also bloody useful to have around.
Alright. Well,
And then you also have the not a deer nearby as well.
That's Jack Newman's elk skin.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I feel comfortable enough. I'll go with Dracula.
Okay. Everyone gets to make a perception roll as you're entering. Because some of you are completely oblivious to what's going on around you.
I'm assuming that if the wall of darkness is still present.
It is still there.
I'm going to go with my passive perception, which is
My passive perception is 17, which
sort of
is
18 or
exactly
21.
the same as my perception I've got now. So 17.
I got a 19.
Well, normally you'd choose either passive or what you roll.
Okay.
So you got a 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a 17, and my passive is a 17.
I got a 19, but what if
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that I'm specifically checking if the traps have reset?
Yeah, which means it's passive perception if you're not looking around.
Or was it?
Well, most-
Passive's 21.
Jack Newman rolled 32. The 19 on the die.
So while Nimir is heading back in, he does see Druzzle pull out some items he's seen before. He remembers them from when you were in that place called Francia,
Uh-huh.
Okay, yep.
and you remember Druzzle collecting them.
Collected and while we were in France, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the floating runes. Basically.
As a player, I'm not remembering it off the top of my head right now. But
So if you remember back to when you were fighting a giant werewolf in the Fey domain of Francia,
Yep.
Druzzle collected a bunch of 5 runes.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yes.
So it dates back to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the main thing I remember about fighting the giant werewolf was the fact that Jack Newman didn't manage to bring the pelt back with him.
Yeah. Yes. My passive perception is also
Got
21
lost in Etienne's tomb.
because I have that feat. I think you've got it as well.
Then-
Servant.
You both get a crackling in the air coming from Druzzle. He's probably just performing his magic.
Yeah. I do not want to think about what is crackling. It's a little worrying, but well, she's dead at the moment, so she can't complain.
Miracle, Max. Can't kill the person you want miracled.
Yeah. I don't know. You could disintegrate it. That would make her incredibly dead.
You still be brought back from disintegration, just a lot harder.
That's true. That's true.
And
you
so
probably would count it all dead.
Yeah.
As opposed to most of the dead.
Yes.
So you do feel a rush of air behind you as you step into the tomb.
Okay.
And then it just goes still.
Look behind.
Well, when you look behind, you can just see the wall behind you as you stepped into the tomb.
Right. So the door is closed, or we've just been teleported?
No, the door doesn't allow magic to pass its threshold.
Yeah.
But it's still affected by the darkness effect.
It
Yes.
is.
But it's still a layer of it. Rather
And
than
you
feelings.
can't see out from it, and you can't see in through it.
Yeah. But
No.
you can see while inside it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay.
Looking at
I think we'll be aiming
walls.
to.
Yeah, looking at walls,
Into it.
ceiling, floor, looking for markings,
So, in this one,
making notes.
one area had all the Anubis style statues along the length here that have all been destroyed.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting one.
It just fell over.
Right. I'll believe that.
Well, it did all fall over in one big spectacular explosion.
Mm.
Yes, but finding out what caused the explosion.
Was a party.
Yeah, good point.
Purely coincidental.
We do that to things. We exist at things and they fall over.
And they were golem-like statues.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they
Set off the electricity
Yeah.
trap when it came before they got knocked over.
Yeah, so they had
Yeah.
electricity traps and golem statues protecting the entrance to the dead. And amusingly, the archaeologist hadn't set any of that off.
So she's good.
Well, apparently she flew across with the
Yeah.
help of the dragon. Then.
Yes. Well, that's fair enough. I could do the same thing. Can't do that for everybody.
And because of the damage you did, you believe the lightning traps have also been destroyed.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Lightning traps are no longer traps.
Well, it's a bit hard for the lightning traps to be pressure related with everything being squished down because stuff has been dropped all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes. The batteries are flat.
And most likely still on the drain part because, hey, if they're constantly been saying you're on, they're never going to recharge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you make it past that area without any problem and pass through the next barrier. And find yourself standing between the area that led off to the physical and the area that led off to the intellectual areas. Well, actually, it was the spiritual areas.
Physical is earth, spiritual is air.
Physical was more earth, yes, and spiritual was more entropy.
Okay.
So Jack, you was taking the opportunity to take a better look at the iconography on the walls and things. Yes, because technically,
The physicality does match nearly your entire belief structure on the Atruaghin Plateau in everything that has been taught about afterlife and honoring the dead.
Yeah.
and do we know at this stage who these people were?
You were told that they were the Nithians,
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
and you had discovered from looking at the journal that the archaeologist found this place by researching the Nithian culture in the Hollow World. Actually going to the Hollow World and doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're an archaeologist, imagine going to the people you're actually studying and...
So, sounds like cheating, really.
Well, she found out from them some of the old maps that existed from before they were there and used that to track this place down.
Yep.
They have no history as to why they went to the Hollow World.
Right.
And so she was researching why they went to the Hollow World, not what their culture was. They're two different things to research.
Oh yes, I know. I've got an expertise in cultures.
Then, so her entire thing was what causes a extinction event.
Okay, that's
And the world
Right,
has,
let's go do some light research on existential threats.
and there are two listed extinction events:
Really? Okay.
the Black Morians and the Nithians.
Black Morians sound familiar.
Yeah, they were the first big wacky doom that was basically involved a magically boosted nuke that spoogulated a lot of places, and nobody knows anything about the Black Morians because the gods say so.
Well, exactly. From a player perspective, I'm pretty certain that also applies to Nithians.
Would I like some more food?
Well, yeah, Nithians are the same, and sort of to an extent for the same reason.
But were less blattered from existence.
Yeah, they were just... There are still Nithians around. It's just the original Nithian culture and why they were removed has been removed. So yeah,
it's not so much there's still Nithians around, it's the fact that
there are descendants of the
formed a
Nithians.
precursor to a lot of current civilizations.
Well, no, there are actual Nithians.
So what Paul's saying is actually true. There are an actual Nithian tribe as part of Yalarum that still exists in the Outer World.
But they don't practice the Nithian culture anymore. Or at least not as they knew it then.
And then there is the Thothian culture in part of Alphathia that practices the Nithian culture before the extinction event.
Yes, which means they didn't actually succumb to being extincturated.
Extinctorated. I'm pretty sure that's a real word.
It could be extinctorized.
That's a real word too.
Yeah.
Hey, as soon as you write a word down, it's real.
Well, real enough.
That's what a word is a word that's spoken already.
Well, okay, put it
As
this
a
way.
professional editor in the room, and
Proofreader and editor. Yes.
also what the other thing I do with languages.
You write.
Not entirely, no. Creating linguistics.
Yes.
And with the linguistics and things like that, not absolutely true. If you write a word down, and you write it down often enough, and it comes into common usage, it becomes a real word.
However, if I say a word that has not been said before, but it still conveys the meaning required, it's real enough.
Wasn't there something about Tolkien being told off about using this for a word? He goes, I actually wrote the damn dictionary you're talking about.
Yes.
There's a difference between accepted word and real world.
One of his jobs was an editor for the
Dictionary.
For the British
Okay,
dictionary.
so returning back to the story.
Yes.
Yeah, Cambridge University Dictionary.
So we're in between the hallways that lead down to physicality and spirituality.
Yep.
Dracula is studying the pictures around physicality.
Yes.
And I believe we'd already got into the physicality tomb, and you deliberately left it undisturbed. None of the other followers had apparently managed to reach any of the tombs, had they?
They had not.
No.
They were all stuck.
And we got from the memories that in order to reach the fifth tomb, actions had to be done at the 4 other tombs, or something along those lines, was it?
They did. You had to open the 4 doors to reach the 5th tomb.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, to open the 4 doors. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that place we discovered when we were doing the pre-war thing, where you have to open these other things to get the. Actually, it was four things to open the 5th one. Same thing again.
Yes. So, in which case then,
Okay, so-
He was happy to examine the discovery room to ensure that he understood, what we did, the strength or dexterity-based activity would have opened it without activating the trap that Portolic has carefully found.
Yes.
And
The Naga didn't reach here then.
so we'll look at the spirituality-based one, see if we can work out what sort of activity would need to be opening that door without necessarily disturbing
Okay.
the Guardian.
Looking at that one, you'd probably think it is more of a religious focus, which seems a lot more complex because none of the religious focus here is part of your own belief system, but it is very much a belief of a great balance,
Right.
basically the cosmic balance. And basically entropy does represent the great balancer in the scales of the 5 spheres. Without entropy, life doesn't end, no matter how horrific injuries you get.
Okay.
And so if you were to remove entropy from a world, it's a world where you never die.
Which is a bad thing in several directions.
So, looking at the instructions, I guess is what we work out being, do you think that it can determine the appropriate activity to try and demonstrate worthiness to allow the door to open?
You believe that they're basically asking for someone to provide a prayer to basically to balance, which you're not quite sure what that means because whatever meaning they had here has long since been lost. Most of the religions you've learnt from are a little biased in one way or the other.
And the possible, or the one that he thinks is potentially most likely would be a prayer towards entropy, which he's definitely not going to try and do because that's way too close to a Catiol.
It is. Or Danelle might actually answer your prayer because he is part of your pantheon.
And you don't necessarily want that.
Okay, well, he was happy to explain what he believes the test entails, and he would rate it as a definite test.
And I believe Calcrick can speak up at that point.
I just want to see how much I understand. Can I roll religion?
You can make a religion roll, yes.
Dragon's my roll. Not so good.
That's a 4. So probably not. I'm pretty sure it's.
Well, I guess add your wisdom and most likely your plus 4 proficiency.
Yeah, so it's like 12.
Yeah, what he says does sound plausible.
Right.
I have a question for the party.
Yeah.
In terms of each of our own, I guess, association with the spheres, Bonnie would be water, Dracula would be earth.
Cow Creek's fits
I'm
both
darkness.
air and fire, air and darkness.
Oh, sorry, water.
You're what? Which one are you?
Okay.
Blue.
Water,
You
right?
you chose blue in the end.
Blue. Yes.
So water.
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 Water. I just look up at 8 and I'm like, maybe we should just say a little bit
Yeah.
of Green of Darkness because, we always like it.
Yeah. I'll double check actually because it's blue-black rather than blue.
The second one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Because I was thinking if there was some way to balance out, not necessarily calling to a specific sphere, but a
Yeah, water.
quasi-religious ceremony celebrating the balance of the spheres would be a way to go about it. But then again, Lonnie doesn't know that. Lonnie does not know that well. Lonnie does not know that much about religion.
Give me a religion roll.
But you can come up with the idea, and those of us who do.
11.
On an 11, it sounds like something Drazzle does on a regular basis.
Sounds like a Drazzle thing.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if Drazzle is actually more than one element too. Because it's possible to be more than one element.
Drazzle does other things.
He does all sorts of
dragon.
fun stuff.
He's water associated, but he does other elements stuff.
And he doesn't push any one belief above others.
Yeah. But yeah, it is remotely
I'm
possible
happy
to be
do
a fight.
a basic
Yeah.
balance sort of,
Yeah.
where you pay homage to all of the elements in balance sort of ritual.
Yeah, it is possible to be
Either
a
way,
4 or 5 element person.
I would suggest that perhaps we have a look at the other two doors.
Yeah. We'll have a look at things before we go any further.
Yeah. Because the other question that I don't know whether it came up in the memories of the archaeologist or not was, do all 4 doors have to be open at the same time?
Yes.
If we want the
And
door,
how long did it take for the physicality door to close again after the Guardian was put back to rest, having been activated?
Well, you never actually opened the... sorry, you did open the door once.
And we did open it, we had a look and found out what was behind it.
It closed once you started walking away from it. It didn't close until you started walking away from it.
Yeah, we don't know if we can hold it open.
Well, by the sound of it though, from what we saw, as long as someone is there
I was going to say, there's 5
potentially about to
We've
enter,
got
the door remains
NPCs who can
open.
have standing doorways.
I think that's why the archaeologists made
Means then that we don't necessarily need to open all 4 at the same time.
No, but we can
It just
have
means
all
that
4 open.
we've got to
at the same
leave someone at each door that's open.
Yeah, and as I said, we've got some NPCs. We've got the archaeologist minions. They can stand in doorways until we say, right, everybody step forward.
They can also get in front of those tree open traps.
Let's not use them for that.
That's what they were already used for.
They've already been used for
You-
that, and I don't think they want to do
you'd
it
have a
again.
tough time persuading Carl Cricks to allow that to happen.
Yes, and same with me.
Anyway, if we look at the other doors, we work out what's going to be need to open them,
Yeah,
then we can work out who's going to be where at what time.
Okay. So we know then that we know how to open the physical door, and we just figured out that we can have Drazzle
do the
tell us
thing.
how to do this door. So I guess now we got to figure out the other 2, because the other 2 being water and air, because the 5th door is the fire. So we don't have anyone that does fire, do we?
Well, we don't have anyone's fire element.
No,
Well,
we
unless,
use-
unless one of the
use the fire
NPCs does.
associated.
Unless one of the NPCs is
Yeah,
fire
the-
element. Bronze dragons are fire, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Bronze dragons
No,
are more
true.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, bronze. Yeah, got to remember which actually bronze is. But the fire is generally gold and red.
Yeah.
Okay. If everybody else is okay with it, I was thinking of heading back into the main hallway to the next set of
Okay.
crossroads.
Yeah.
So you had the shrine to entropy and the shrine to life. So on one side is basically where you go to die, and one place is where you go to be born,
Excellent.
which is basically the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. So this temple specifically was unique in stuff that you're seeing, because very few temples actually deal with that as part of the dead.
Yeah.
The gods of birth are rarely the gods of death. So, you find the area that heads off to the northwest is all about inspiration.
Right.
And basically showing how someone is divine by inspiration. And with this, you do have along the hallway, not at the actual place itself, because by the time you reach it, you have to perform the ritual. people look to be reciting poetry or songs or tales or playing instruments, or maybe it's deeds they're talking about. Hard to tell with the iconography.
Yeah.
Because the runes themselves that make up the words have been lost to time. Even Lull's. This is with interpretation of other cultures that you can actually read.
Yeah.
What they've used here could represent any of those things. Or all of them, yes.
Which means it's not conclusive, not particularly useful, although it is rather attractive.
But it is all about...
Sounds like it was activities that may inspire others.
Yes, and that is the underlying theme of it, is inspiration.
Yeah.
She brought a bar. Well, there you go.
We have a bar.
There's a bar. Who can give inspiration?
You make a very good point.
Well, Calcrick says Jasmine's known to give inspiration.
That's true.
It is. She does have performance. Pretty inspiring.
And the
Well,
last...
in her previous life, she used to back up a goth elf in her singing efforts, and the jazz things in the background. That's
Nice.
And the last hallway that you can venture into before reaching one of these doors has a lot of artwork here that makes you think of life cycle, going from
Seasons?
well, it does have seasons, it does have age brackets, and it does have births and deaths.
So transitions as well.
And transitions, yes. So transitions is probably the best word for that one, which I'll actually write in here because that was a better word than what I wrote down originally.
Well, transition from adult to adolescence.
And season to season.
Season to season.
And would also have a lot of moon iconography.
Tides.
Yes.
Well, the moon...
Cycles of the solar.
Well, you do have the 4 different moon colours depending on which season it is, and the fact that each season has a black moon.
There'll also be the solar system as well.
So when it's fully eclipsed, is a black moon.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out this planet's super design here.
Well, when you're in summer, the moon has a reddish tint to it. When you're in winter, it has a bluish tint to it.
I have more questions about the atmosphere now. Alright.
Because the gods themselves have influenced everything, and it's when their power, and they use their power greatly on stuff. So it's not based on science, which really annoys the scientific gods.
Yes.
No, it doesn't make sense. But it's pretty.
And to top that off, there's a second moon that is not listed.
Yes, it also means that if you want to check things like what's happening with the climate, you have to read both the histories and the dogma, as in the religious texts, of at least 6 different weather gods to find out what the hell's going on.
All I can think now is one of the weather gods is like a really like punny weatherman from like a news station. This is all I can think now.
The thing is, the weather god, the other domain is trickery and
Oh,
keep a fucking
trickery and the weather god. That sounds like Canberra weather. Or Melbourne.
Well, I'm sure there are quite a few trickery gods in the Earth sphere, which normally deals with weather.
I was gonna say.
True.
They're always saying, "Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be sunny today." And guess what? It's not. So.
And so if you want to find the best
Trickery
trickery gods, just look for the Fey gods.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or-
They
or-
love that.
Better run away from them.
And most of the Fey gods are in the Elven pantheon as well.
Of course. Best
Because,
place for them.
yes, why not spread the love? As they call it. Lay it on thick. So yes, you do have that the final corridor is all about transition. You're not sure what the last doors require because you won't be able to get to it until you pass through the other, open to the other 4.
Can we work out where the last door might be located?
You do have a map from her, which I will show you on the screen. If you can see that, Jeremy.
Okay, yep.
So I will switch it over to a big one so you can see a bit better.
Yep.
I do seem to have
Okay.
something dangling, so bookmark, that was what was dangling. Okay, so the room you want to get to is the top one if you want to open into the fifth one. And so you've got four corners of the map representing each of the elements, other elements.
Okay. What were the two long rooms between the tombstones area?
So
Is that where we found one of the followers
So
of the
one,
archaeologists?
that was correct. One of them was the room you go to die, and the other one is the room you go to be born.
Ah, right, yes, okay. Yes.
So it was a temple that represented the entire process of birth, rebirth,
Yep.
and the cycle of life, which is not a bad thing to have for a place that fell into disuse.
But also, so that explains, I was getting myself confused with the fact that we had the birth and death, but then we also had inspiration and transition, so I was thinking, hang on, are they the same places? Or, but yeah.
Hey, spirituality is the same place as is the ability to show your physicality.
That's
Each has different.
Cool. It's just, I picture in my head thinking, hang on,
So to
we've got four
combine
places
all
that we
of
described
these,
six, so that's why I had difficulty, so.
So the most thing is, most of it is what is it that you represent most in your life is what each door is where were you any person who inspired? Were you a person who had great physical presence? Were you someone who had great spirituality? Were you someone who represented transition as being the four different pathways here, which does make you believe from what you've learned from Atruaghin that the last one is about how do you lead?
Yeah.
Because leadership without inspiration, without a physical prowess, without spirituality, without a transition of such. It was, from the notes you've seen so far, the last one was where the nobles went. And you can't be a noble without some form of leadership. How is that?
And people to lead.
Yeah, and how is that represented when each of the other four is a form of leadership?
Yes.
Yeah, the leaders who lead by strength, the ones who lead by birth, the ones who lead by being good, being inspiring. What was that one? So,
And the ones who lead by sitting at the front.
Being spirituality was the one that you missed on that
the
one.
one
Yeah.
So basically, God says,
And a lot of some of the great Mythian heroes became gods.
Yeah. And it is possible to be all four in one.
which is why you require to open all four doors in the fifth one.
yeah, it's a little bit more for you want to prove yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, what it's saying is you have to have all aspects of
well
leadership.
balanced
Yeah.
to go in all four to
Yes.
be a true leader.
Well, in their opinion.
Yes, in their opinion.
Yeah, it says that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so, do we... well, obviously the archaeologist attempted to circumvent or open up all the doors by sending one follower to each location, which didn't work.
Yeah. But that,
Ah,
we don't
we
see
can
the things we
still-
needed.
So
So,
how long
could
do
do
the doors
something
stay open
similar.
once they're open?
Well, they stayed open as long as someone's there, as far as you.
yeah. So however we get them open, if we get one of the NPCs to stand in the doorway until we're ready to have everybody move out of the doorway, we can have the little
Well,
close.
I'm not certain that we want to trust the NPCs to do that kind of work if we can avoid it personally.
And it
if
might
all they
be
have to
the
do is stand in
person,
place,
and it may be the person that inspires it and opens
has
the
to
door.
be the only one. But if we only need one person per door anyway, then that's not really an issue. We're not,
Well, they
we're
can't
not
pick
teaming
them.
up on each one.
Technically, we have enough people with us to actually...
Yeah, but we're not teaming up on each door. We can have one person per door.
As long as we've got enough of the skills.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm thinking that, yeah, who's best for accessing or opening each door?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Autolycus is probably appropriate for the physicality.
Yeah.
As long as he remembers.
And I'm also thinking the fact that we can potentially go as a party to each door, have the leader
Work out what we
open the
need to
door,
do.
and then stay at the door while the rest go to the next door.
Yeah.
Just to confirm that, hey, things work for them, and that we're not all hanging around saying,
But it just comes down when you come to the last.
Yeah.
There's only what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. So we've got to work out who's going to be going in the final door. And what happens if the final door's bad?
Well, at this stage, Lull would think he would be the one who has to go to the final door.
Yeah.
Because she had something about it having something to do with magicking.
Yes.
but also,
And
if the door to the final door works the same as the others,
yeah.
all it matters is we can lose one person at each door for the first 4, and then, if appropriately, Lull goes to the 5th door to open it. Lull can wait at the 5th door for the rest of us to return.
Yep.
Or
We don't, because the other 4 doors no longer need to be kept open.
Or, as you say,
Potentially,
no.
is that sort of, would that be a reasonable supplication from what the supposition, I should say, from what we got from the memory of the archaeologist and reading from the iconography?
It was basically what she planned with. She had 4 people and she was going to open all 4 doors and then meet up at the open thing, assuming that the doors opening was all that was required to open the 5th region.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So obviously we've got the advantage of having someone there to actually act at the 5th door.
Let's do it.
It's unsure whether
Okay.
someone has to remain or you can just move on, but he did send them all off at the same time to activate each one.
Yeah.
So maybe,
He could also have been lost in translation.
yeah.
And I think that it's worth keeping the party together as much as possible
Yeah.
for as long as possible. So, okay, so if we look at Autolycus being
Always
physicality door,
That's what we're
we have a
doing,
volunteer for the
shit.
spirituality, because whilst it might be appropriate for Nima, he's certainly not interested in trying to lay a prayer to balance, because that's all wrong.
No, Atruaghin himself is a god of balance.
True.
Okay,
I believe he is, so let
Yeah.
me just get up to bring up
He
his
sounds right.
details. Because, hey, I have a great memory of the 180 odd gods, which is not what everyone else has.
I mean, actually, my concern was the fact that Nima got the impression that it was actually closer to a Cantiotl that was being called upon rather than Atruaghin.
So, because it does appear to be spirituality based on bringing balance, it does make you feel that way, though Atruaghin himself is a god of balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is where it doesn't feel right to you, because balance for you is the earth sphere, not the entropy sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it may also just be misinterpretation of the symbology.
He's balanced because of what he does, not because of what he is. So
And obviously-
it's the active balance, not the state
Nima
balance.
would have his own personal biases, unconscious biases,
Of course.
on how to interpret the images. So,
Yep. And that is perfectly fine. That's why I thought I'd let you know that your god itself is a god of balance. Not necessarily, there are only 4 gods of balance in the 180 gods.
Yeah, and he's the only one that's the god of being balanced. And
well, in which case, then,
against
so
the god of
Atruaghin,
balance.
Nima may be appropriate for spirituality, unless there are others who are keen for it. I guess also when we're looking at it, Autolycus obviously takes physicality, but obviously
To make things interesting, Ixion is one of the gods of balance.
That is a bit interesting.
Lani would obviously also make good
Deja
physicality.
is another god of balance,
Yeah,
the
so
goddess of worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I'm not surprised at.
Physicality either be
And
Telepus or Nani.
Vithandi is another god of balance.
Yeah.
And each one of the gods of balance is what they call a hierarch. One of the
Right.
major gods of the setting.
Yeah, because you'd have to be pretty powerful if you're going for balance and stay there. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we were just talking how like.
So, yeah,
Well,
physical stuff is you two.
It could be either of us. I'm trying to figure out the
Certain types of physicality.
transition one.
I'm probably the best for dark.
Yes, transition would actually be me because I'm sort of I do being a warlock is sort of transition to an extent in itself.
Although,
I would say
I'm standing in a
if there was someone
doorway.
else who could do darkness, Calcrix could actually do transition. She wasn't like
Calcrix.
I was gonna say
Now she's
Calcrix.
like scales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Go, Jeremy.
Sorry, yeah, Jeremy.
I was going to say, Calcrix can also transition between multiple forms at this stage.
That's true.
So she does have the ability to polymorph herself as a
Yes.
natural ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Which, if there's any natural form of change,
It's
polymorph in the setting is probably
Yeah.
the biggest
so
thing.
actually performing a transition is something you can do without trying hard. Think about it.
Yeah.
When I was thinking transitions, I was suddenly thinking, oh, yeah, what about your
Oh,
caterpillar and the butterfly type stuff? And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, hang on, Calcrix can do
Calcrix would
something
be
very
the
similar to that.
best one, for sure.
Yeah.
And so then you're also looking for inspiration.
Inspiration. What?
Which is sort of like any sort of
Inspiration.
performance, storytelling.
Level of
I
skills.
was gonna say, what's your performance like?
Probably not the greatest. Like I said,
So you're a rogue, shouldn't you be?
yeah,
My-
a lot of
my
things
thought
like
is
should
that
be, which
ideally-
I didn't quite get.
Plural is not involved in the first four because he's the one that'll be there to actually walk
Yeah.
to the fifth gate.
I
If it's four need to be held open while you go to the
Yeah,
fifth,
you've got that.
Yeah.
that's the
But
way
what-
to be if we can
but
have
what-
that.
Is there a performance needed for the fifth, or is it just the 4 doors?
Yeah,
that
well,
needed?
we don't know what the fifth actually
Don't
needs.
know yet. We'll find out.
Except that the implication that Nazarene was involved.
Yep.
So
And I'm carrying an artifact of Mazikeen.
so if the other four can be handled by the four of us,
yeah.
then I think that it's appropriate if we can try and achieve plural to
Paul,
be.
give me an insight roll for Lull.
If you were Shadow Elf, though, is there any darkness about you?
No, I'm not Shadow Elf.
Oh.
I'm part Shadow Elf. I'm a Sun Elf, but I'm water.
There's web behind you.
I just have.
He just
black
cheated
hair.
on Shadow Elf.
So in a way, Lull is a transitioning between light and dark in the sense of Shadow Elf and Surface Elf, because he is the bridging of two families.
Yeah.
But each character can be given the same description.
Lonnie can do darkness.
Yes, I'm sure you'll find there's darkness in all of us.
Yeah.
I do the flips.
Yeah, you can do the cool flips, and then Lonnie can.
I would have thought that was.
She will make up a siege
It's acrobatics.
So I guess it comes down is Lani or Telecus
Thing to read.
better for an inspirational type.
I am
Performer?
proficient in vocals, bongos, flutes, and lutes, but I don't have one of those. But I have a voice, and I can make up a song.
You don't carry spare
Well-
instruments?
I didn't grab any. I
And
just I take it as I go, kind of thing.
And what was Luell's insight?
Okay, that's nice. 22.
Okay. So as you're getting ready to go, you do remember when your staff was taken back in time. It was split in two.
Oh,
You have half of it.
Drazzle's got the other half.
So I thought I'd point that out before you went all the way in.
Good point.
They could break something.
If I've only got half of Mazikeen's staff, only having half of it present might be considered an insult. Drazzle's going to have to come with me.
Or a failure.
Or a failure. Drazel's either going to have to come with me or lend me his half of the staff.
Or tell you he can't give you the half.
Well, he's going to have to come with me. We can't give it.
Well, if
Or you
there's a
leave
chance
your
he
half
might
with
lose it
him.
and he needs it.
Will you leave your half with him and go without?
I don't think the Moonblade would approve.
The problem you've got is, as you were saying, is that they're definitely not going to approve you bringing the broken stuff.
Oh no. But
Oh,
if I bring, that's why I'm saying I'd go there with Drazel.
Yeah.
But
His half of the staff is inside of the Moonblade.
Yeah. Or at least they're being combined somehow. That's the thing. This half of the staff is now sentient.
You actually think it used to be sentient?
The staff itself. I'm not entirely surprised. It's an artifact.
Each
Actually-
artifact is an extension of the god itself.
Exactly. So
But is
actually,
it,
that would make it interesting because you add that to the existing sentience of the Moonblade.
is it worth it? Is it really, do we really want to risk bringing Drazel in through the anti-magic field at the entrance?
We would
It's
ask
only a layer
Russell
of it.
first.
Yeah.
He has been in once.
Okay.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like being inside.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't actually stand in the transition point. Because, well, Dragon, actually no, he's mortal as much as anything else, so he can
So-
survive it.
We've got a person for each thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just go and talk to Drazel about him coming with me because of Mezuki.
Okay, as you walk outside, give me a Arcana check.
Just ball.
Whoops. Although that didn't roll. Can I roll it again?
Oh, it's an interesting roll.
It is an interesting one.
Interesting rolls are always worth following up on.
Oh dear.
So, you step
Especially
out.
for the GM.
So you step out and you're basically almost blinded by multicolored lights coming from where Drells are performing some sort of ritual that is almost as bright as the sun.
Rainbow lights.
So it's bright like he's burning diamonds.
Well, it's basically each of the
Godlike.
spheres is basically emanating from the 5 different runes he's got floating around, which is the last of the magic of Francia.
Yes.
Last of the magic of what?
Francia.
The Francia world they went to.
Oh,
He actually stole their magic.
okay.
The little bit they had
Well,
left. Well,
it's
that's the
gone
thing.
anyway.
It was being consumed anyhow.
Yeah.
Does this mean it's used up entirely now?
It's gone. Oh, he's nicked it.
It's not their candelabra collecting server.
He's using it.
Okay.
He's not necessarily using it up.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
But
Is
it was
been
being
used up,
con-
or is it just
yeah.
been used?
It was being consumed by a god in Francia.
Yeah.
So he rescued it, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah. Well,
In a lot of
everything is
cases,
a matter of perspective.
artifacts do travel between worlds.
Mm.
Just because you're at one world doesn't mean the artifacts originated there.
Yeah.
Now, particularly for Autolycus and Lani, considering the other two are going to be almost native type abilities, is it worth seeing a performance or a demonstration of what you plan to perform?
I plan to do what I did last time.
Practice always helps.
And on the idea that other members of the party might be able to give some extra pointers to say, hey, have you thought about getting this?
He decided he needed to do the proper performance and show off and sort of he did a very spectacular fiddle.
Okay, and so what also Lull sees before him is he sees what appears to be a symbol representing a mountaintop, a symbol representing a ball of flame, a symbol representing a skull, a symbol representing an hourglass, and one representing a lightning bolt, all spinning around Drazel on the body.
Right. Right, now I've got basic level cryptologist, so I've got a good idea what he's up to. Nowhere near the power level.
Well, each one of those things you think is an artifact.
Although
Yes.
you've also told me that so's the one on my boot.
Dragon brings up a good point. Would it, if Lonnie rehearses a inspirational, like, sailing song beforehand, when I go to do the check, does that give me advantage?
Possibly. Or it could even simply be noting your titles.
That's true. I do have some pretty inspiring titles.
From the entire group of people, you have more titles behind you than anyone else.
That's true.
And you can present them in a poetic fashion using skaldic verse.
Yep. That's an option.
Or sea shanty.
Or see, well, it's very similar. It's very similar, really.
You can say it in
Right.
cantons, in the she shanty cantons.
Using any song. Say anything in the cliche you can.
He goes rowing to your titles.
And with
So of course
spirituality,
it would
you
be
can also
shanty,
think it
wouldn't
could
it?
simply be a divine spell being cast. It could also represent the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, me casting my celestial spells would do this.
Yeah, but we want you for the final
I'm
word.
over there, yeah.
So that's why Draconian was doing the spirituality door, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, it certainly seems that, well, from Activist's perspective, he believes that a prayer to a god of balance, i.e. Atruaghin, is what he's looking for, and it's certainly something he can provide.
You think it's more to the aspect of balance instead of the god of balance, which your god basically provides as one of his interests. So other people who are praying to balance will call upon him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess being a priest of Atruaghin, he's going to be praying to Atruaghin
Specifically.
in his aspect of balance.
Yep, that
Yeah.
will work pretty well.
Yeah, that's actually good.
That's actually a better wording than what you said before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, so like the only other thing I was suggesting was whether or not anybody wanted to practice their performance in front of the rest of the team, potentially giving so therefore there's potential for giving some words of advice or information that would then potentially give a bonus when you actually go to perform the actual activity.
People could provide assistance to give the bonus, give you advantage.
Sure, I can enhance.
The other thing is concerning, do we know whether or not it would make any difference as to the order the doors are open? Obviously want to hold all four doors open at the same time by the end of it.
Her notes did not go that far. You could wait until she's brought back to life to see if she had more information that she didn't write down.
That's one of the reasons I want to do it, quite apart from it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, like that was the thing. Was like I definitely want to wait until she's awake / also talk to her followers about the instructions they were given.
Yeah, but it didn't work out for her.
Yeah, we know that, but I want to know what they were told because I want to know how like.
Well, admittedly,
How much-
the only problem with the followers was that they got caught in the traps leading up to the doors.
I will ask. Yeah, that's the thing too. I'll ask how Cribs then. Before I go talk to them, I'll ask Hal Cribs to, in the archaeologist's memories, did she give each of these guys instructions before sending them while inside the temple? Do you want to know that? Because you want to do.
Okay, so from your memories, going through them of hers, you find that she said, remember you'll find the key to opening the door in the passageways leading to it.
Yeah. Alright.
Because whatever place described this probably didn't actually have the information.
Yeah. True. Makes sense.
And that seems to be true of pictures.
Yeah.
Because the pictures were the key to the place, as whatever happens in here may not be something that was spread outside of the temple.
Yeah. So I guess I will try to go talk to the followers or something that are awake.
The dragon is quite happily awake.
Yeah, and I'll invite Calcrix to come.
What did we call her? We called her Darla.
Yeah. Sorry, I was right.
She is watching the ritual with interest.
It's not well alive.
Well, when you step out, it's blindingly bright. But luckily for you, you didn't have you heard the "oh crap, it's burned into my eyes" sort of thing from the well as you step out and didn't look in that direction.
Yes.
Unlike when someone said the island's over there.
Like on Star Trek, just change
Yes.
the magnification of my glasses.
Well, the other glasses are sitting. Oh, you got them?
Just been
Okay. So,
So yeah, we'll go talk to Dahlia.
Darla does say that when she had been speaking to the archaeologist, who she calls Mistress, her investigations led that this temple was in disuse for over 100 years before the culture fell.
Yeah.
So she believes they had strayed from whatever path this had belonged to, and that it was then used to hide things away.
Right.
like keys.
Well, doesn't really know what was hidden away, just that it was considered something the followers did not want the pharaoh to get his hands on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Which meant as far as they were concerned, a great weapon of some kind.
Yeah.
And with all the stuff going on, every great weapon is useful right now.
Yes.
Even if it's only to use as a threat.
Yes. We've encountered that one. Badly.
Okay, so what else do you ask the followers?
What went wrong?
What went wrong? Well, they couldn't reach the passageways to find out how to open the doors.
So with the bronze dragon, she's like, the key is within the walls.
She never reached the walls to find out.
She never got that far. Okay, alright.
They got past the trap in the main hallway. They thought that was the worst of it. Because why would you trap the entire complex?
Because your security
Because
tells
it's-
us.
Well,
Because it's a test.
it was a place of worship.
Yes.
So she believed they only trapped the entrance, and once you knew the trick, you could walk through.
Which is generally true, but not when you've got a place like this where aspects of it are this entire area is a test.
I guess I would ask the followers then, did the archaeologists seem to have specific directions for each of you to go, or did she just send you off
Well,
randomly?
she sent us off to investigate and return once we found out what was required.
Gotcha.
And if we think we could open it, then open it as we could. Because, again, not sure how long the doors would stay open was also a useful bit of information to gain.
Yeah, absolutely. What else?
Just not sure exactly where the doors were, so some of them
Yeah.
went down the wrong passageways.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain isn't working today.
There are days like that, yes. The brass dragon holds up a cookie.
Well, I'll split it. Thank you. I guess I will say, how long have all of you been working with the archaeologist, which I don't even, you have her name somewhere, I just don't remember her name.
About 5 years, they say.
Yeah, they all work for like 5 years. I can't think of any other questions for these guys.
I think that covers it.
Because, like, that was a pretty big answer, I would say, so.
So we figured out that from the walls, what we need to do about in each door. We know that will reveal a fifth door. We know who's going to be the one going into the fifth door. There's
There's 5.
I'm going for
so
the
you're
fifth.
going for the fifth door.
Yes.
The question was whether you waited for Druzzle to finish
Yeah.
or went in while he was doing it.
I think we
we
may
just
need to wait for Drazzle to finish because we need to ask about Mazepin's stuff.
So we want to know, because you have the Archaeologist's
Yeah.
memories from when she went in, but it would be nice to have her prior knowledge and also her learning knowledge to see if she can figure anything out or point out
Yeah.
anything else from her archaeological record that we
Include-
may be missing.
Including the last,
Or of stuff.
including the last like half a day of stuff that she hadn't had time to put in her book. 'Cause
Well,
she died.
You also figure out
So-
that she actually learnt the Nithian language from the Nithians themselves,
See, that's
Ooh,
even more helpful.
That's distinctly interesting.
and she rooted around their archives that they don't look at anymore.
I want a copy of her head. Yeah, I'm presuming she did
might
that in
need
whole
to
world.
find some souls and some willing gnomes.
Because it
Make an archivist droid out of her.
it does mention that a lot of the belief system was lost when they went to Hollow,
Yeah.
and she believes it was intentional.
Well, they were trying to. That the entire knowledge system was attempted to be exterminated. So yes, I'm not entirely surprised. But yes, if they've got a bunch of books that they're not interested in reading because it's not presently part of the culture, so in the Hollow World it's just never going to happen, then yeah, there's probably a whack ton of stuff in there that's
That was wholly because it was from before.
yes, and is never going to be looked at except by an outsider. This is probably true of quite a few of the cultures down there too. Now that would be something for an archivist or a historian to go for.
And it does
and
talk
then-
about something called the Lighthouse.
Yes, and then never tell any god about it, ever.
And referencing the Lighthouse as being the rumoured the store of all knowledge hidden somewhere in the Hollow.
That's tempting.
It's rumoured to have a copy of every book.
That's really tempting.
Dimitri finds it a wonderful place to visit.
Nah.
Right, so you got the address?
You have
Dimitri
to
does.
time travel to get to him.
It does require entering Theanos.
That has issues.
Hmm.
At least until after this bloody war's over.
Or the ability to traverse through God portal limitations.
I'm still working out how to get my sword to go through frickin' face step.
So, yes, you set up and rest, I assume, for the
Yes.
rest of the ritual.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I decided to change spells over, fine.
This would be a good point
This
too.
would be a good point to do it. Problem is I'm not sure which spells to change it over to, because there are so many.
Well,
Yes.
technically,
And all of them have to be looked up in like the monster manual or the player's manual.
well, technically, all those spells your character currently knows as a sorcerer,
Yeah.
which means to swap them out is normally a lot longer, but it
Oh,
can be
I see.
you had learnt them instead of the ones you have
Yeah.
because you didn't
You
get
don't
out
need-
recently.
You don't need to actually choose your spells each day. You've got your list there.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at swapping out the spells that Martin's printed off for me. I'm looking at swapping out a couple of those for some other spells that I've got, but the other spells, I don't know exactly which would be the best spells, but I'm thinking maybe, depending on how good your knowledge is of what I know and if I can do it, just swapping out one spell for something that would help resurrect someone who's hurt badly, or you know, I saw a remove curse one there, and I saw maybe something that would do a pretty hefty curing, healing type spell.
Yeah, cure wounds is the base healing one.
Yeah.
And the remove curse always useful, as is reincarnation, resurrection. Reincarnation is always funny because they can be beside themselves, literally.
Well, I'm just thinking, just before we go on this enterprise, they should be.
The other thing to remember with your spells, Ariadne, is that normally you'd only swap them out when you go up a level, well, not just have a rest.
Yeah.
But also, one of the things to think about with a spontaneous caster like yourself is often spells like remove curse, they're less valuable for you to use amongst your limited selection, on the idea that someone else in the party can probably learn it overnight if they need it.
And especially,
I do understand that.
especially if it can be used as a ritual.
That's why I was bringing it up to ask about it, because I don't know if I'm the one to do it either, or whether it's better off for you or Lull to do it. And I thought if we're waiting on Drazzle to finish his resurrection, could quickly have that discussion and figure out if I should or need to. Normally it is done when you're leveling up. Martin sometimes lets me do it in between because of all the players. I don't always get that attention when leveling up, so I don't always get it.
That's right. I certainly recognise the fact that these are sort of decisions that were technically made when you leveled up, but are going to be made.
And sometimes I'm really unwell.
It is something to remember in that sort of way, is that for a spontaneous caster, they're normally aiming for those spells that we want on the moment.
Yep.
And
any spell that we can afford to wait 24 hours potentially don't need to be a spontaneous caster.
And Raise Dead is just a ritual-only spell. You can't prepare it.
But do any of us have any of those three? And is that something we should be looking at?
Jack Nimmer does not have access to remove curse yet, because it's a third level spell.
Right.
Certainly, when he gains a level in cleric, he will have access to third level spells, and remove curse would certainly be amongst the ones that he would collect.
Yeah, I don't. Remove curse isn't something I can get. I don't think.
I can get it.
Yes, you can.
I can.
It's a third level warlock spell.
Yep.
Right.
It's a base warlock spell.
And what about
one as well, or just?
It is a wizard. It's also a cleric and a paladin.
Yeah, so it's pretty much everybody can get a spell.
Yeah.
What about the cure wounds?
And dragons get it as part of their list. Cure wounds. Okay.
Particularly also when you think about remove curse is be aware, Paul's probably already got one up his sleeve anyway.
He does have one if he needs it. So, Cure Wounds is a Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, and the Secret Crafts of the Celestial, Healing, and Nature all get that as well.
So that's not me.
No.
Is there any equivalent? Probably not without censoring apples.
Not as versatile.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Because Cure Wounds is something that increases as you put slots in it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I will be aware that, okay, so if everyone's settling down for a good rest to make the ritual to be ready and finish and things like that, it's probably a few hours later that Jack Dimmer actually comes out of the two on the idea that he was happy to continue looking at the pictures and things like that and examining things while you guys were out deciding and talking to the followers.
Yeah.
And then eventually realised I haven't come back in to start the process.
Yes, and
Oh,
so,
good. Find out what's happening.
and I was just also going to point out that cure wounds can be done as a ritual. It just takes an hour to do so.
But still not
But
something
considering
I
a
can do.
short rest and a cure and doing it as a ritual is not much different, except that it is a skill roll instead of spending hit dice.
Yes.
So it's
As long as we feel as prepared as we're going to be,
Yeah.
that's really all I just wanted to check.
okay.
Yeah, for a celestial warlock, it's very much worthwhile sticking with it as a spell. Very much so.
Alright, so does that mean we're
Okay. So
the next day?
it turns up after an hour. Dressel does finish with the ritual with what sounds like a sonic boom going off.
It's a Drazzle spell.
Well,
Any note warning, I'll cover up Grindelwaffel's ears and Grindelwafel.
well, the
cover
warning you
up
get
his
is
ears.
there's sudden silence, and then boom.
As long as I remember in time, I'll cover Grindelwaffel's ears and he'll cover Eve's ears. And Calcrix will
You'll
use her
just have to-
wings to block hers.
Flip your ears down. I think they're wings.
But hey, when you do ritual magic, it doesn't always come across as simple or nice to the environment.
No, what you're seeing is what a mage shortcuts when they're using a normal cast spell. What you're seeing is what they do when they're learning this stuff.
Okay, and then you sort of look around and see that there's sort of a bit of a burned marks in the ground around the body.
Oh.
Looks
Is the body burned though?
body is not burnt, as you see the archaeologists set up looking a little bit surprised.
Excellent, you're back with it.
And you sort of see what appears to be a diamond slowly fade from her chest. Coughing a lot because, well, hey, she's been dead for a while.
I'll offer her
I'm
a
going
drink of
to-
water.
Yeah, I'll do medical care at this point.
Would she need it or would she be brand new at this stage?
She's going to want the attention, if
Well,
nothing else.
she's not brand new. She hasn't been
No.
reincarnated. She's been.
No, I mean like it's,
Resurrect brings you back to basically 1 hit point.
yeah, that's what I
and
meant.
fixes nothing else except the fact that you're dead.
In which case I'll hand over healing cookies.
Yeah.
It's got lots of good stuff in it.
Okay, so you give her cookies. She has trouble eating, but
I'll
she's
give her
awake.
water or coffee if she wants.
Well, she's just come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Does she have a name?
She doesn't remember her name.
Oh.
It's alright.
She's not sure why she's here.
She may not have any memories of her previous life.
No, someone gave her memories to someone else.
I was gonna say, does she
You
does she
have
remember?
those memories.
Does she remember
She a blank slate.
up until the point?
She remembers. She remembers
Is it Dahlia?
coming to the tomb, but she doesn't know what happened after that.
Would you like to share her memories with her since you remember?
Well, I was going to do that. I was just looking to see if I wrote down the name.
The Queen of Darkness did say she gave her her memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, did exactly that.
just-
Well,
just-
Faye.
Just
Yeah.
Remembering, that means she technically will remember all the research she did before she came to the tomb.
Just
Yes.
nothing inside the tomb itself.
You got all the results.
Obviously, she can give us some advice then on
Yeah. Yep.
too.
I will fill her in on her memories. Apologise for taking her memories.
Well, she said, "Don't apologize. I'm alive. That's better than I was apparently a little while ago."
And I said
Yes.
I'll work on seeing whether or not we can get your memories back to you. At some point.
Hey, as long as I'm alive, I can work on your memories.
Yep. She's also got her journal from when she was in there, so that'll only be missing a small portion of information from what she can catch up. And I've also got a lot of sketching from her memories that I've been doing.
She says, I might have to make new amulets to help us get past the entryway, as they seem to disintegrate after we got through.
The
Oh.
entryway doesn't seem to be much of a problem for us.
I was gonna say, what amulets did you make before?
She describes basically using semi-precious stones and metals and
I can tell her.
as a talisman.
We've now been in there once to gather
So you-
yourself and your friends.
So you managed to get past the traps without any problems then?
And then we went in again to figure out how to
Help with that.
read the traps.
Problems. But yeah, we got it.
Yeah. So so far we've figured out most of the traps, and we figured out what each of the 4 areas are asking. I'm very specific, not saying yours. Each of the 4 areas directions are kind of asking for, but we were hoping that you would be able to tell us what was your goal of coming to this temple, and do you believe that we need to get an item out of here?
Well, she believes that the priests of Ixion hid away some relics in the final chamber that they didn't want the Pharaoh to have access to. And the Pharaoh was technically their god and king, and whatever was put in there would give him godlike power.
Right.
As he was no longer following the path of Ixion, as they called him Ra.
Yeah.
And so, do you believe that these items are at risk and we need to get them somewhere else?
It's less at risk, as in there's a lot of crap going down right now, and whatever they were used for may also have notes as to why they chose to hide them away.
Because I'm thinking, are they not better off here, or do you believe they can be beneficial for the greater good in the long run with all of the stuff
The
happening?
culture here was one of the most magically advanced cultures of the world, rivaling what Alphatia does now.
Gotcha.
So
Pretty
whatever
impressive.
they had there would be enough to withstand the might of the Alphatian wizards.
I would ask her. So, should what is rumored to be in the 5th room be there? What is your intention with those items?
To be honest, if they're useful, they could be used to help stop whatever war is about to happen. If they're not useful, then maybe it's better finding a different place to hide them or leave them there. Just finding out what they are so we can access them if needed is better than some unknown thing, because a lot of the artifacts that built the culture of Nithia didn't make it to the Hollow World.
Can I roll an insight on that just so I
You
can
can.
see if she knows? Like, on it, insight. That's a 22. Just I believe she's being genuine.
You believe she's been genuine. She truly believes that something that will help save the world is in there.
Alright, line play then.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll tell her, we have all been to each of the four areas and figured out these things. We have a plan in place to open the doors, but based on all of your research and everything you know of the Nithian culture, would you be able to help us to figure out specifically any order or any specific thing that these places are asking
Well,
for?
from what I read through the material in the old library they had, this was where they took the dead bodies of people of importance. So those that they deemed worthy of an afterlife, so that their bodies could not be used for other purposes, because they had trouble with liches and vampires and ghouls, as well as the rampaging gnolls and other things that just wanted to steal, pillage and destroy. So this was a afterlife that the body could be sent off to without having to worry about building tombs for the dead. At one point, they decided tombs for the dead were far more important to be honouring the specific person than the gods themselves.
Tombs for the dead rather than tombs of the dead.
So this was the tombs for the dead. The
Yeah.
dead were supposed to come here to be entombed, and their bodies going on to the afterlife with them.
Yep.
So the bodies would not remain here. As the destruction of the body itself meant that they were separated from the mortal world. Because if the part of the body remained, you could still be brought back.
Yes.
Or corrupted, or
raised as undead, all sorts of unpleasantnesses.
and so the followers of the important people would then do some sort of performance of their hero, or the person who leads them, and that would allow them access to the afterlife.
Yeah, a reverential observance. And of course, Nithians being who they are, the culture they're based on, they'd know that just locking a body away isn't actually useful. You've got to destroy it.
Yes. And so each chamber was meant to be a form of destruction.
Yeah.
And the surprisingly enough, it was not built by them.
Oh.
That's an interesting fact.
Well, it was supposed to have been a gift from the gods to one of their pharaohs who became a god.
So, a deity level cultural gift, basically. Yeah.
But like all things, people change and things fall out of favour.
Yes.
And it seemed that the current Nithian culture preserved the belief that those of importance get entombed in their own structure, and that they don't honour a specific god. So by entombing their pharaoh or leader, they become a guardian of the people and the culture,
Yeah.
which he thinks is another form of saying, I've created a lich or mummy or some other form of undead guardian of the people,
Yeah.
who then goes and consumes the people that it's guarding. She doesn't understand that aspect, but she's sure that that's part of that, what happens as a side effect of that belief.
Yes.
Because they're more than happy to consume intruders instead of their own people.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess then we could take her through what we found at each temple or each room without going in yet. Just kind of explain our thought process of it, and ask her does she believe that she can assist any further in interpreting any of the pictures. Alex will show her wonderful pictures that she has from the memory. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, she says your interpretations are slightly out.
Okay.
Okay.
So while it's supposed to be a performance, you're supposed to be honouring a hero of your culture.
Okay.
So the honorific goes to someone who has passed on, for them to then open the gateway to the dead, is the intent behind the
That makes sense.
performances.
Very much so.
Because it's not supposed to be celebrating us the living, it's supposed to be honoring the dead, because it's the
Because-
temple of the dead.
And because it's not deity related, it's down to the hero of the person doing the ritual, not the hero of the culture of
Yes.
the place.
Yeah, not the culture of the place, the culture of the person.
Yes.
Makes sense. Ah, that is very helpful. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah,
So you can honour a great pirate.
it was a confusing thing to go through because this temple was not dedicated to a god
Yes.
or a pantheon or a belief or a thing, it was dedicated to everyone.
Yeah.
And as such, she was surprised that it got lost.
Something that
That was dedicated to the world.
Yeah.
omnibus and like dedicated to everything.
Yeah.
That this really, like, this definitely really was a
Yeah.
gift from the gods for
Yeah.
everything.
On the other hand, if they didn't advertise it, no one will know.
She believes it was the knowledge of this place was eradicated with the knowledge of the region.
Yeah, well, it would have gone with the Nithians, yeah. But given what it is, I don't see why it should stay that way.
She does not either, but it depends on which gods have chosen to cause the
There,
region to be like this. They may still be holding grudges.
there are ways to find out. Indirect questioning, like, for example, using a commune spell would work.
But she believes that Ixion was the catalyst of the curse.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
I got
curse
that
of the
impression.
Yes, the one who...
He was the one who whacked the Nithians.
everyone stood behind him because he is the patron of energy.
Yep.
And he's the one that is most revered in the Hollow World. So most of his...
Because he's the whole world's son.
Yes. And all the... and the religions she's found in the Hollow World can only follow what their beliefs on the outside world was before they transferred inside.
Yes, they can't update it because they can't update anything.
They can update it to the point that the culture stopped, which means the
Yes.
Nithian culture inside can fall again.
Yeah. So they shouldn't read their own books, right?
That's part of the reason why they're not allowed to read their books.
Yeah.
There
But
we
she
go.
does say that once you open the all four doors, the guardians of the temple will activate.
Guardians.
Yes. And they are creatures of fire and flame, servants of Ixion.
Right. So does the fifth door open at the same time, or do we have to defeat the guardians first?
That the guardians were put in place to stop anything leaving the temple once the four doors were open.
Right. So what happens to the fifth door is functionally immaterial because the guardians just won't let you go anywhere.
You can reach the fifth door without reaching the guardians. The guardians guard the central passage out.
Right.
Those that reach what you've identified as the spiritual and physical doors are the only ones that would have to pass the guardians to reach you.
If only we could time travel. We get all the stuff and then we time port to the day before we arrived and then we leave. Or
Okay.
actually teleport to while we were asleep last night.
Okay,
Time
so just make sure I had that right. So once 4 doors are open, 5th door opens, and at the same time the guardians activate, guarding the hallway out.
She believes that a Ifriti and air elementals are involved.
they're going to be a bit tough to deal with.
So genies of fire and air.
Yeah.
And they fit the mural you saw. She believes that they are actual genies embedded in the wall.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be at all surprised.
But hey, you're good enough to face genies, aren't you? She says, looking around.
I haven't fought one yet.
Eep's
Just-
probably one of the few that speaks up and goes,
Bagel!
actually, everyone.
Okay. How do y'all feel about
Air and fire elementals.
Well, more genies, because be careful what you wish for.
I will.
Oh, okay, so are they genies or are they
Genies are elementals. They are a higher
Yeah, they
form of
are.
elemental.
Yeah.
Calcrix
Yes.
will do what's needed. She'll leave me and Grindelwald will out unless Eep insists on staying with her.
Does she believe that the fire and air genies will stay as long as the doors are open, or once the doors are closed, they will go away?
She believes once the doors are open, they'll seek out whoever's opened them.
Gotcha.
Kind of like going into the entry.
So the trick was only one door was opened and the travellers would leave, but if someone opened all four to reach the fifth one, then whoever went to the afterlife went to the afterlife and everyone else died
Right.
as a sacrifice.
Gotcha.
Excellent.
So the people at the 4 doors won't be able to get to the 5th door necessarily.
2 of them will, but 2 of them won't.
So the 2 that are left have to be prepared to fight the genies.
Yeah.
It's just whatever they put in the 5th area was considered so dangerous, they didn't want anyone left around.
And
Well, probably.
Or okay, not the vacuum was actually there, because I said he was taking a few extra hours in there and then took an hour for the ritual. Remember, the ones waiting at the spirituality and physicality don't necessarily have to fight the gins, they just have to get past them.
yeah, they just have to get
Right.
out. And you could put like things like sphere of resistance or protection.
So why are you thinking about stuff? I'm gonna duck
I
to
don't
the
know whether or
bathroom.
not that sort of stuff will work. The other question is I can't remember what the answer to was. How important is it that we get what's in the 5th room?
It's something that's potentially world saving.
Yeah,
also
I think
could be world destructive.
from memory, Redrin actually wanted us to both find out what the archaeologist was doing and get whatever she was after.
Is
I
it,
can, we, I,
will
it's
it do
worth
any harm
checking.
to check in?
It's worth checking
Yeah.
with him to find out what's.
Yeah.
I'd say
Just
checking back in
double
with him would probably be what I would like
Yeah.
to do, because I don't want to consign 2 people potentially to death if we don't
Because,
have
like,
to.
Yeah.
By detail, we know where the thing is. We know how to get it. It's safe-ish for now. We don't have to get it. Unless we're doing
Question
session
is,
one.
right
unless
now
Redrin
there's
needs it now.
all of us
Yeah.
here at the right time, at the right place.
Because, like, that's always a possibility.
That may not
So we'll
be.
just ask him, hey, we found the thing, we can get it if you want, but also, we don't have to.
And the fact that Adrian wanted the archaeologist resurrected, there and there,
Yeah.
implies that he's
He wants us to
thinking he knows
get
what's behind it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
wants it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I'd say. So what
So-
were the 2, spirituality and
Physicality.
physicality? So that's Telecus and Drachnama?
Yes.
Right.
Potentially
You're both
sneak
tanks,
past.
right?
Yeah.
Which are,
You're a rogue, you can sneak.
I
That's right.
dodged a lot.
They can both technically try to
I tanked it
sneak
behind.
past genies.
Yeah.
We were thinking of checking in with Redrin to ask if he wants this thing now.
well, the other thing, of course, is if Drachnima and Autolycus are with those spirituality and physicality ones, when the gins are activated, potentially, Lull doesn't have to be standing where the 5th door might be opening. He can be standing in the middle of the pathway to actually support
Yes.
the 2 of us to get bypass the gins as
Yeah.
we run for the 5th door.
Yep.
Oh, but that would be assuming that as soon as you leave, it doesn't close the doors. And, like, Will needs to be at the 5th door while your doors are open.
Well, admittedly, yes,
Yeah.
but it also sounds like now we've certainly got the support of the archaeologists, whether
Yeah.
we encourage the support of the followers
Yeah.
is a different question. But the fact that
They are happy to support you, though they don't particularly want to die in that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
no, that's right. Obviously, the fact
If
that,
I'm-
like,
yeah,
from
if
the
I'm
party
one move-
perspective, whilst we don't know any of these characters much at all, the fact that Medrian specifically is supporting this archaeologist, potentially also the followers, we don't know so much, we haven't had that direct interaction, but it means that likely we can trust the archaeologist to support Medrian's goals.
Yeah,
So,
because she's
in that sense,
one of
you've
his.
got the fifth, you potentially got the archaeologist
Yeah,
and be standing near the fifth door, holding it open,
yeah. And if I
while
put
the rest
myself
of it congregated to there.
if I put myself one move away from the red door, I can be closer to what other people
She does
are
say
doing.
one thing she didn't put in her notes is there are 2 doors into the final chamber.
Okay.
One you
Please,
can, one you
explain.
find from either side of it. It can be approached from 2 directions. She's not sure if each direction has a different requirement.
We'd have to check around them and have a look. Let's go and do that very thing.
The only way to get that is to open the other doors.
Brilliant.
It's why they. She was doing the investigation to begin with
Yeah.
because she didn't want to open all 4 doors at once until she could figure out if she could get people to the past the genie or not.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised if the only way to find out anything about the 2 red doors is get access to them.
Or ask the genies.
Alright, yeah, that's also possible.
Because they would have been around before the temple was closed down.
Yeah, and as long as we're not in the midst of trying to leave, they might actually be willing to talk.
Because they're there to prevent people leaving.
Exactly right. So we can have a cup of tea.
Well, also, when we did activate the genie for the physicality door, my memory is that the party as a whole did not have much trouble putting it back into the door, did we?
When you released the Naga from the door, you did not have any trouble putting it away, no.
Oh, so that was the Naga, not
Yeah.
necessarily
The
the
genie.
genie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't activated them.
You believe each of the doors have a guardian Naga if you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but the genes are actually guardians of the tomb if the fifth door is open.
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay. So if we have her and her party's, I guess, support, do you guys want them to come home?
If they're willing. They're mercenaries, so I'd be willing to pay them.
You know, one of them is a paladin in particular, and he's the one who had a spiritual hero.
Right. So he'd be willing to help anyway.
The dragons basically knew of a great old dragon that had inspired him, well, her actually, which was more of the physicality side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that they had picked things fairly related to where they were going, but they could also choose other heroes that they knew.
Yeah.
I think we should bring them along and we be their support.
Yeah.
And should they, seeing they don't have the right stuff or they're not doing it correctly,
Yeah.
we have our stuff as a backup.
Yeah. I think they're probably better for the role as they've been chosen specifically for this purpose.
And they've been asked not to open the tombs
Yeah.
as a warning.
Yes.
Oh, if they open the tomb,
They can open the door, but not the actual tomb itself.
Yeah.
Because there's a sarcophagus inside each one.
Yeah, and because of what they're for, you're not going to get any loot from them anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing in there worth getting.
Yeah.
These guys seem like looter types. No, and to be honest, I'm not a looter type unless I know it doesn't belong to anyone.
Look, unattended biscuits.
Unattended coffee, how could that happen?
Unattended jewels.
I must rescue it from getting cold.
There's nothing like telling a 3-month-old dragon not to open the secret door only she can see, even though it might doom the rest of the party. And she thinks there might be jewels in there. I'm just like, that's a bad idea.
That was funny.
She did get 5 little sapphire dragons out of those, so, you know.
She doesn't do that
She
now.
only had
And a new party.
3 followers.
She has 3 followers, yes. So she and her followers were going to investigate as much as possible how to open this place because they didn't have the knowledge you guys have gained
Yep.
since you've been here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So yes, the dragon would go with Tolopus. The bard would go with me.
Yep.
And the paladin would go with Dracula.
Yep.
So we could send Calcrix, the archaeologist, and Lull into their area.
What she recommends, if one of you is supposed to go in one side and one the other, Lull should go either with you or she go with you while the other one goes with Calcrix.
True.
Because the doors might have different options.
Okay, and then that would
Yeah.
be the archaeologist and Lull can meet in the middle. Yep. Okay. Do you
But
want
if, actually, I wouldn't be at all surprised if you've got to actually activate both red doors at the same time. That would be a pain, but yeah, I can see them doing that.
She agrees because it's not meant to be a survivable event.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we also need to make sure we've got a hero or someone in mind, like all of these others?
He recommends yes because this is supposed to be the where you take a hero you know to be to the afterlife.
If the
Yeah.
So the person can't be alive. So it can't be someone who's inspired you that you know.
That's a lot. No.
She recommends it being either a legend or someone you've known who has died, because the gods are crazy and their rules don't always make
It's just
sense.
that Calcrix,
Yeah.
I don't think, knows anyone who's died. So it's going to have to be a legend.
Technically, the Great One died at some point.
Yeah. For her, it would have to be her
Because
god then.
the legend is each of the gods had to die to become gods.
Yeah. So for her, it's going to have to be
Yeah.
that.
So it's not something you live through.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, if you're an adventurer and you've been killed, you can use yourself.
Well, of the non-living things
they
that she
try.
knows.
Well, she doesn't recommend using yourself because then if you do activate the thing fully, you go on to the afterlife
That
no
is a
matter
bit-
what you choose.
A little tiny bit of an issue, because that's actually what these tombs are for.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why she says using someone other than yourself.
Yes.
Someone in the hero to open the door for you. You can open the door for yourself, but you'll go through.
I've had quite enough of summoning heroes, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people were clear on who they had in their mind.
Yep.
Because thinking of someone at the last minute is probably not a good idea. Because someone like Calcrix, at the last minute, she might name someone she knows who's still alive and not realise that she could be dooming them. Because while she's an adult, she's still pretty young.
Yes.
I guess with what the archaeologist has said, Lonnie would get in her mind any past on family members that earn the title of king or queen.
You probably know a dread pirate in the
Well,
It's got to be
family.
a dread pirate.
There's more likely that they're fired sometimes.
Which means,
And
of course,
from-
it has to be rocks.
And from your people's perspective, the dread pirates were more important than kings and queens because kings and queens were only a title they held for a short time. Once a dread pirate, always a dread pirate.
That's true. So,
And the halflings were the worst dread pirates out there and the most celebrated.
that'd be cool. Yeah, I can see that there's more than likely a sailing song, but
Well, the Mackay took up the title from the halflings because the halflings were the first dread pirates. They're also the first cannibal pirates, but those two are slightly closely together.
I really don't want to continue down that road.
so,
Well, that's why everyone was afraid of the dread pirate. Because he comes to eat.
Yes.
Fair enough. Halflings are damn good at cooking too.
They are.
You might not even
Yes,
know you're
we've-
eating a
we've-
friend.
We've yeah.
So when they say come over to eat, you don't know whether or not they mean you or food.
Or someone you know and like. They're doing it as a gift.
Yeah.
Yes, we're having you for dinner.
We do know a halfling cook assassin.
We do. That's fine.
Well, I don't think he was a pirate. He's just an
No,
assassin.
just a cook
He
assassin.
actually was a dread pirate.
Yeah,
He
there you
was.
go.
Oh, that's right. He was too.
He's retired.
Yep. Ha.
Yeah, he's a cook.
Love it.
Just asking.
So good.
He also.
Well, that's what he does as a job because assassinating is a hobby now.
So with that, does everybody feel
You have
comfortable enough
someone?
moving on? Yeah. It was the I don't remember what you said.
Yeah, physicality with man. The physicality.
You're going to take the dragon with you.
Aye.
Dragon, yes.
No,
Yeah,
it's
Darla.
the hero he's got just in case. My 4 should have.
Oh yeah. Who's your backup?
Someone to
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah.
Who would inspire Trolicus? With physical acts of might and heroism.
No.
Yeah,
Somebody
no,
just
if
pass
you
on.
think of yourself, you're gone.
Because
Yeah.
this is what
It's gotta
opens
be
the
a dead
gateway
person.
to the spiritual realms
Or a
of,
god.
of those who are known as the great
A
heroes.
legend.
Yeah.
Did Autolycus have any mentor that led him down the pathway he followed that's
What?
now passed on?
One of the biggie heroes of the Theoden Empire is the first emperor. And he was a gladiator who threw the Alphatians out of this entire region and basically founded the Empire of Theodos.
Yeah, interesting.
There you go. He seems pretty good.
Yeah,
His name is Leonidas.
very nice.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
The current emperor also has a background of being a former gladiator who threw down the oppressive government and took over.
And I gather you've easily got people's.
Oh,
Okay, so heading in, do you go and see what happens at each one first before?
We're starting with the. We're starting with.
yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess before you head in, we would ask the archaeologist, does she believe all of these need to happen at the same time, or can we go one by one based on this new information?
If we go one by one and it doesn't work, we'll know, but at least then we'll have time to fix it.
Not wrong.
Whereas if we go all at once and something goes wrong along the way and we don't know, we're sort of a bit stuck.
Very true. Alright, let's try one by one if you guys are okay with
Yeah.
that. You can start with physicality.
She does say she practices the scientific method of exploration.
That's fair.
That's all the friends on this diet.
Yes, it's pretty much why her friends almost died, because she tries to see what happens, and she tried it one way where they split up and it didn't work, so
Oh.
she's suggesting something different.
So physicality.
Okay, so how are you going to present your hero through physical action or story?
I have a weapon, sort of weapon master with the short sword.
So you can
And the short sword was the favoured weapon of the gladiator.
So what I'll do
One of the most versatile
is I'll
weapons
do
out
a
there.
series of stylized flips and cutters with the short sword.
Okay.
that is akin to the.
I will give you a athletics and acrobatic roll. Both with advantage, yes.
Both with advantage.
Yes.
Okay, athletics.
Do you get expertise dice with either of those?
I don't know.
Not at this stage.
We can't assist.
Well, he's getting advantage with...
Oh, he gets advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
can't boost it anymore.
Sometimes my brain doesn't process in
That's a
time.
17
that's
on
fine.
the
So what she
athletics.
wants to.
Yeah.
That's a 20.
If it's a 1 on the other side, it's a 20.
What a grab the dice. It's a skull, so it's a 1. So
Yeah, it's a skull.
they're both 1s.
I
That's
take
an
the other one.
11.
That's an 11.
Oh, it's 11.
That's an
Sorry.
11. That one's a skull.
That's a 20 for the athletics.
So that one's a skull.
Yeah.
But
Oh yes, you got a D20, the D&D sign on the other side.
Right.
yeah,
So that's a 20 for the acrobatics.
Yeah.
And
cut very low.
Which is
14
pretty
for
good.
the
It's
athletics.
lucky he saw 1, but we both caught that it was 11.
Yes. 1 and 1.
So yes, you think you failed one, but made up for it with the other as the door opens.
Yeah.
Nice.
So basically, the equivalent of showing a story instead of telling a story seemed to work.
What's the was there some step we had to take to keep it open without having to actually stay here?
I
You
think
you
we
think the
leave the
person
calendar
who
behind.
one of the people
Yeah.
who opens that generally stays.
No, not
So-
the calendar.
The dragon.
The
was
dragon.
happy.
The dragon.
The dragon stays.
Yeah.
Dragon was happy to stay and let you know if it's shut.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Next one.
Yeah, let's move on to,
The spirituality one.
yeah, spirituality.
So
Which is
you-
Drachnema?
which is Drachma. You did think it was either a religion roll, a spell, or some sort of tale. So who does Drachnema see as a honoured ancestor?
The obvious hero for Drachnema is Atruaghin himself, as the hero of the people, and and he would be praying to Drachnema in full shamanic regalia.
For a minute there, you just said praying to Drachnema.
I'm pretty sure you meant
Not yet.
Atruaghin.
Later.
Praying to Atruaghin in full shamanic regalia, in
You
his
got all your
aspect
robes on,
of balance.
you got all your
good.
incense out.
We're in the
Probably with some confirmation or description of one of his deeds involving appropriate choice of balancing between two opposing forces.
Well, he did raise the plateau of the Atruaghin to allow them to live unmolested by the other peoples,
Yeah.
who, especially led by those of Atsantiotl.
Yep.
Creating a balance in the world.
Where those of the animalistic natures would not be treated as second-class citizens.
wearing the Atruaghin hosing pouch.
Hell of a magic item.
I was taking away back to Temple Camp. Technically, this is still all happening on the same day that we actually went into the temple the first time, isn't it?
It is, yes.
But technically, he's got his spirituologist all active at the present time too.
Yeah, we
He
haven't,
does.
we haven't had a long
There's
rest.
a different type of spirit, so
Yeah, we haven't had a long rest, so yes.
So yes, you still got it.
so is that going to be a religion roll?
It is a
Okay.
religion roll for your prayer, but with advantage.
With advantage?
So that's you roll twice. So you roll
15,
roll
26.
twice.
26, and the door opens before you for this chamber as well. So your prayer was answered.
and the paladin
Okay.
stays behind on this one.
You was going to stay
Yeah.
behind on this one.
We have NPCs where we use them.
Next. Okay. I guess.
Okay. So you move down the one of inspiration.
Taking the dragon as a follower would be interesting.
Sorry?
Taking the dragon
So,
as a
guys-
follower would be interesting.
With me in the bar
Does it
meeting,
mean-
I will
So now you play it big enough.
sing the shanty song of the Dread Pirate.
Well, hey, most people use the same name because people do get afraid of the name.
Exactly.
Yes, there's
So I'll say,
there's 48 halflings called Dread Pirate Goblins.
Exactly.
No one's afraid of the good part of Wesley.
Only 48.
At the moment.
It's not
Or the Dread Pirate Frodo is not as scary.
Not a scary
right.
now. And so, yeah, I'll sing the song and all it with like full 100% into it.
So I will give you advantage on your sing.
This. 23.
23, and when the final note finishes, the door opens up. Apparently, they approved of your song, and you see right right behind you as you're opening this door, the door to the fire area, which is currently shut.
Right.
So there is one here, and there is one at the other door.
Okay.
The remaining one.
Yeah.
One or two of us should stay with either the archaeologist or you, and then the rest of everybody goes to the other room.
Yeah.
The archaeologist looks at you and says, "Which one do you want?"
This one's here.
Okay. So she follows him.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I guess you're gonna stay here.
Well, the two of us are going to go to the door. Actually, no.
The
One of
idea
us can
is to
stay
separate
there.
you two.
Yeah.
So you'll stay here.
Yep.
I can stay with you.
Yes.
The bard will stay at this door, and then the rest of you can go to the other door with the archaeologist.
Yes. To do the thing there.
Yeah.
Okay. The entourage moves into the area of transition.
Yes. And we'll get the names of all these NPCs, even though we may not meet them before.
I'm sure they'll turn up more.
Oh yeah, quite
More
possibly.
than
So
likely. So,
we will get the names.
how does Calcrix honor transition here?
She first of all she'll take a black scale and a white scale, and she will make an offering of them in the name of her, the great one, and then as she makes that offering, she will change into an elf. And she will speak of how the Great One has shown her how to better achieve balance by accepting transition rather than resisting it.
Okay, so your character gets advantage on performance for that.
Hopefully. That one's a 10. And that one's a 4.
So 10 is good.
10, and my performance is... It's not too bad. I think it's like 7. And I can never find it when I need to.
With the training, it's going to be at least 7. Or actually more.
It can be more of its expertise.
Well, not just that. She's got her charisma maxed out.
So you have a
plus
plus
15.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah, so 18. I don't know if it's good.
18's not that bad, and as you finish your offering, the doors to that area opens up and you hear the sounds of unlocking behind you.
Okay.
And down the hallway, the area just seems to light up in bright red flame.
Okay.
So,
Probably should.
I will then ask people their initiative.
I thought my initiative was doing a song. So.
21 for Dracula.
Here's my purple. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Initiative is...
What is the point of having this massive
20.
bonus to initiative?
So when you roll low, you don't end up last.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
the
It's the highest I've rolled all night.
Okay, I rolled a 1, so it's 11.
okay.
I got a 13.
And a 13 for Lani.
And
Lull got
17.
Another game, he's got a really massive initiative bonus, and he gets advantage on initiative rolls, and he still is the last.
So these are air and fire, aren't they?
They are. So, if you go straight above you, Jeff, the monstrous menagerie above that one there, yeah. I was going to get Jeff up, sorry, and they didn't reach up all the time.
I was going to.
But she's too quick.
Yeah.
Much too quick, we're all good. Probably I often act before I think things through, which equals a lot of pain. And you got my kind of injury.
Yes.
Because my nerves are often kind of just slower processing that.
Okay.
And then they're like, this is going to hurt. About 5 seconds after it hurts.
Yes. You're just gonna, oh yeah, that.
Much it. Cold damage hurts fire creatures, doesn't it?
It can, yes.
Yeah, if they've got a listed vulnerability, then it'll do extra. But yeah.
Can I have changed back into a dragon? Or am I still an elf?
You're still an elf at this stage, and what was your initiative?
20.
20. Okay, so it looks like Dracnomir is the first one to act at this stage as you see the corridor behind you light up in flame.
Okay, well, he will be. He will attempt to try and get through to the fifth door, where he is, at the spirituality chapter door.
Okay.
We haven't actually seen an actual djinn appear, just the wall of flame behind it.
You just see what appears to be flame coming closer down the passageway.
Okay.
But you can head up the side passageway that goes to the fire area. And I believe you had gone along with the others to where the dragon had performed. So you head...
I thought I was at the spirituality door holding
No,
over.
no, you're with us. We've left.
You left a paladin there.
back there, and there's a dragon at one of the doors. Then there's the.
Because the paladin assisted you in the check.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so met the condition of someone who had been part of the check.
Okay. And they were happy to be left behind.
They were
blocked off by the inn.
They understood the risks of it, and they worst case they were going to step inside the chamber if that thinking that the djinn might not be able to enter the actual chamber itself.
Yeah.
If the djinn came down that far.
So we just technically.
Well, in that case, then, so the intent would be that we're all moving towards the door as rapidly as possible with this door.
Okay, so basically where the dragon had performed the check, a door opened up and some stairs went down, and you run down those stairs?
Well, not the door that opened up for the leadership, or no, the transitions. We have to go back to get to the fifth door.
No, the fifth door was at each of the topmost transitions.
So there's two fifth doors.
Yeah.
5A and 5B. We're at 5B. We're right next to it, and there's stairs going from it down.
Okay, so going down those stairs, you find yourself in a room with a solid door on the other side, but more treasure than you've actually seen in one place at any one time. Even the ice door did not have this amount of treasure just sitting around on its shelves.
One moment. 22 on a wisdom save to resist the case to increase wealth, thanks to the stone scale next item. Noting that I'm guessing that there's a fair chance a lot of the wealth is metallic and therefore doesn't count anyway.
Well, I was going to say that if you were to make that check, I would have given you advantage because it was all mostly made out of gold.
Okay, right. Well, the advantage didn't make any difference to the roll, but...
and it looks to be more wealth than you've ever imagined in one space at one time.
Yeah. It all looks evil because it's got their kettle.
Which
Can I
point?
just start rolling now?
It's Calcrix's go. You mean Calcrix has to roll to stop taking stuff?
Yeah. Well, because I got the compulsion.
You know, you run into the room following Dracnomir.
It's 11, and I think it's DC 10 plus proficiency and ability.
Yep.
So I'm not quite sure what I'm adding up from that.
So what did you roll?
An 11.
An 11. You add your proficiency, which is 4, and your charisma, which is 5. So that's 9. 20 you rolled.
Yep.
Which would be more than enough to avoid the issue at this point.
That's good because I was worried about that. Yep. Can I change back into a dragon?
You can change back into a dragon, but that would be your turn.
Yeah, I know that'll be my turn, but I'm looking at this, and as far as I can see, there's nothing that tells me how to fight when I'm an elf.
You've never fought as an elf.
I've never fought as an elf.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure now is not the day to learn.
And it was rather weird to run with your on your hind legs.
In fact, just for everyone's vision, Halcrix goes to run down the stairs, trips, rolls, lands smack on her face prone, and then gets up and turns into a dragon. And then tries to look like she's not embarrassed by the fact that she has no idea how to run with 2 legs.
I love it.
Well, hey, two legs and no wings.
Yeah.
But those wings had perfect balance.
Yeah.
And the long tail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that you tripped and rolled down the stairs, it was the fact that you actually effectively tried to run down the stairs on 4 limbs.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
By the
and
trip and roll.
that brings us to Lull. Beside you, the door that you're staring at, waiting for, just slides open with a clicking sound. As it goes into the ceiling, you see stairs going down as the corridor off to the side that you came down earlier lights up with flame.
I will step to one side so I'm not directly in line with the doorway and then face the corridor.
You
What
think,
is there?
You think Ifrit is coming up the corridor towards you, or some form of wall of flame. Hard to tell, considering they could both be the same thing.
Well, yeah, is there anywhere I can... Is there anywhere I can duck apart from in there?
You've got line of view.
You can step into the chamber of inspiration through the doorway. It might not follow you in there, or if it does, there'll be no way
What
out.
happens though if he doesn't?
I know.
Dan can be stuck outside.
Yeah, this is the problem. My best bet at this point is probably where it's going to be, get to the others.
Well, the only way you can get to the others is to go through the fifth door.
Yeah.
Right.
Or through the fire if you're going to go that way.
Because
Diving through the fire isn't the...
I have a very good video done by a very funny fire department guy who shows you why you can't just walk through fires to get out.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the fire.
No.
Not the fire. I love that bloke.
Yeah, he is. He's very funny.
So you head through the fifth door.
I will do that very fast.
Okay. You go down the stairs and find yourself in a room full of unimaginable treasures.
Are we all rolling Constitution Wisdom saving throws?
Not everyone has to.
Okay.
It's
Row.
Only those who have got a wealth.
Well, I will give you a perception roll because this wealth is meaningless to you from your people as the point of why you are here.
Yeah, except the armor I'm wearing says, I want all of this now.
Well, in that case, then you might have to make a wisdom
I'm
saving
going to
throw.
have to make a wisdom saving throw, aren't I?
You just want to join in.
Which is one of the reasons why I want the new set of armor. The same stuff, but not with the pearl in it.
Really, he just making an excuse to fail the roll so he can collect up lots of gold.
Look, to be
Pearl
honest,
themselves is of the dragon gods is the less evolved of the dragon gods.
sorry, what's that?
Of the dragon gods, the god Pearl is one of the less evolved of the dragon gods, and still very mind,
so
all
that's
mind.
the armor that he's got?
Yeah, the armor. Yeah, I've had this armor since.
Because I was going to
forever.
say, if you did take it, Calcrix would not judge you.
And I've got a bag I can put off. 3 ton of stuff in.
Although I'd
But
say
that would
she,
take too much time.
Just run through scoop and
I'm probably going to end up doing that.
failure save or
right now I
I
feel
might
like we
have-
need
I
to
might
show
have
you
succeeded.
the clip
Um,
from the mummy.
Yeah, actually, I get advantage on wisdom saving throws too.
So you had 16.
That's 15 there.
What's your other one? See if your new one's higher.
No,
Yeah,
Have a bit of advantage.
Sorry.
can't watch that.
Look,
That's the number one thing that freaks me about Needle, so I'm like, that's
so it's actually 19 is the actual number.
Mm-hmm.
So re-roll, see if I get higher than a 15 on the roll.
Jewels,
So I
And
feel
I
like
do not.
touching.
That's 2. So, it's 19.
So yes, you manage not to reach down and scoop up this piles of
You're resistant.
ancient gold.
I am very conflicted, but I will keep moving.
So
I'll wait until there's not fire behind my butt.
at which point I'll then move over to Lani, who watched Lull dash in there, and you see the big fire coming up the hallway. You can even feel it at about 40 feet away. It feels as if
Yes.
it's burning you from 40 feet away.
Yes, and there's
Sounds like fire.
a yell from inside where I just went. But it's
Yell.
Yeah,
Yell.
Lull yelled out.
that it's not in pain.
Mine,
It's in
no mine.
anguish.
I just imagine the
Yes.
world doing that squeaky crack.
Yeah. Like now,
And-
Sergio
and
just
then I'm gonna
told
yell
me
at myself to
what
keep
that
it.
was. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm nicely head on down.
So you step in, you see Lull standing in a chamber full of gold beyond wealth.
and
I'm
going,
checking Lonnie's like ideals and shit.
For a lot of people, this is more than they would ever expect to see in their lifetime.
oh gold. Even just the top bloody millimetre of it's going to be more gold than most people will ever see.
Calcrix is a little bit sad because it's been a long time since she's had any jewels.
I was gonna say,
wallowed in a pile
checking
of
my
gold.
ideals and stuff. I've
Probably
noted
has
that
jewels,
I'm
but yeah.
like committed to my crewmates, not my ideals. So would I be able to observe that Lull has not touched or
You can.
tried to go for the gold?
I
So,
think his
Right.
anguish is he's not touching it.
and so
I'm
with
standing
that,
like this. I'm holding my hands like this.
with that, can I make the conscious choice not to touch?
I'm happy for you to do that and give you a perception roll.
Of course, take mine.
Cool. That is a. Is 14.
14. Okay, most of the treasure around you seems to glow from magic of some kind. Not only is it expensive as the material it is,
But it's
also
magical.
a room full of magical items.
So if I actually turned on my mage sight, I'm going to go blind.
You would go blind.
And basically the door you see here is about giving up your worldly goods.
Oh,
Sorry, what's this?
The door is about giving up before you
yes. So
Right.
not gathering up what's in here is my performance right now.
Oh, no, but adding to the stuff that's in here.
I was gonna say you have to add.
Give
But also, possibly the first important point is, did the fire and or a switch follow us down the stairs?
Well, we're almost up to that point because we're moving over to Trellicus,
Yes.
who is
Okay.
mesmerized by a voice in his head, saying, because you managed to roll a critical fumble on your initiative, saying, Jastra the Hungry greets you and welcomes you to your final doom.
Oh yeah.
As you see the fire slowly creep up the hallway towards you but not reach you.
We're going downstairs.
Unfortunately, you've lost this action this round due to the rolling a 1 on your initiative.
Awesome.
As you hear this voice in your head, you may have to fight this beastie.
Cool.
As he's named himself to you.
Hey, so
Is he-
I just lost my action. Do I still have my bonus rating? I lost the whole thing.
You've lost your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, poo.
That's...
I was
And
gonna say-
unfortunately, it's going to act before you in the next round too.
No, he acted after him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Your initiative was actually still high enough.
We're still high enough,
pretty
yes.
close.
Well, the other question I've got then from those that went down the stairs.
Yep,
Okay, you all ended up in a room full of gold.
yep.
Is it the same room full of gold, or have we ended up in two different
We're
rooms?
two different rooms.
You are in 2 different rooms. And the archaeologists have reached you and he's looking around going, the pictographs here say that we must deposit the items of the person we're honouring here.
Well, I've got 2 scales. Would that be?
They're your scales though.
Oh, okay.
We
So
don't want to necessarily.
They don't have to be somebody else's, but if she's giving them in honour of somebody, then
Is that
it's a personal
correct?
sacrifice.
Well,
in honour of somebody.
everything here is a sacrifice to someone that was being
Yeah.
honoured.
okay. Well, I would offer up my scales. hoping that that's what is meant.
So now it's new round, and Dracnomir is up.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. I didn't realise we were still initiative.
So, at the end we were on, everyone got down the stairs?
No.
Except for Tolkus.
Tolkus didn't make it down.
Tolkus hasn't come down the stairs yet.
He has not.
I wasn't sure whether he was with us or at the other side of the building. So.
Which, yeah, I think.
How far down were the stairs?
The stairs went down about 20 feet.
Okay. In which case then, I'm going to actually move back up to the top of the stairs to confirm what's taking Tolkus so long.
Okay, by the time you reach the top of the stairs and look around the corner, you see what appears to be a creature of flame standing over Tolkus, yelling at him in some strange foreign language. Do you know Ingan at all?
I don't think so.
I very much doubt it. It's an elementalist.
Yeah, but he does actually get some of that, but
That's
not
useful.
automatically. In which case then he will fire an arrow off of the Efreet.
You can.
Okay, leave him alone type stuff.
You're saying, I mean, that's a really bad choice because if I try and move away, he'll attack me.
There's many things that are bad at that.
Huh?
There are many bad options at that.
I'm here, I can't afford it.
So, what armor class do you hit, Jeremy?
AC 20.
That's to hit.
Assuming that I didn't get advantage for any particular reason or things like that. Okay, actually, Autolycus is within 5 feet of him,
He is.
so I get advantage on the roll.
You do.
That's not any better, so that's much better. But, okay, first of all, is non-magical damage, piercing damage, going to have any effect on it?
It is.
It is? Okay, I will make the roll then. Where are we? 5d6 and 3d8. 8, 10, 22, 28, 32, 36 points of non-magical piercing.
Okay. You seem to have hit it enough for it to look in your direction.
Under detection? Okay. And
You've only moved about 20 feet, so you can technically run back down the stairs again. If you've got movement left.
okay. I will do a bonus action to. I think I've got only 3 uploaded yet. I've got a bonus action to dash, and I'll go back down the stairs again and say
Coming!
Autolycus was trapped, but we've got the attention.
Okay, Calcrix.
So
You see Dracnomir rush up the stairs, fire a bow, come down again, and say, Trolicus is trapped and got attention.
Was trapped, we've got the attention. So.
bounds up the
But there was a
stairs
still trapped.
and sticks her head out.
You see a giant creature made out of fire filling the hallway.
Can she grab Tolkus and just take him down the stairs?
You can.
I will try that.
Does Trolicus resist?
I'm hoping the
No,
door's going to close.
No, you can resist. It's just whether you want to be resisted being dragon handled down the stairs.
Problem is, if I get dragged out, I'm going to get attacked.
Well,
No, not you.
Huh?
Force movement does attract opportunity attacks.
If you want.
Yeah, they'll get the AO, not you.
I will see if I can pull Tolkus through and shove him behind me. So if the Ifriti does follow, he has to deal with me first.
So the Ifriti does try to hit you with a glowing sword. And probably does hit you, hitting an armor class 27.
Ow.
Probably, but I do have certain resistances. Probably not. can't cast anything in that thing, so I just have to take it. How much damage does he do?
Well, I'm about to roll that for you.
Find out.
Where's my capabilities? Here they are.
Do you have resistance to fire by any chance?
I might. That's
It's
why I
handy.
look here. Danger if you could
Okay.
extra attack.
With air, you wouldn't have. It would be more poisons and stuff, and with entropy, not as much. So,
I can't use a luck of chaos and make them reroll, can I?
oh, you can make them reroll.
Can I use my luck of chaos and make
Does
them
it say?
reroll?
Does it make someone
Oh well, that's it. I'm not sure if I can. That's why I want to check it.
What's the wording?
I'm going to give it to you. That way I can't stuff up saying it. It's under luck of chaos on dark side. It's about halfway down. Pretty sure it's any
One spell on rest, you
D20.
can reroll 1d20 roll even after finding out the result of the roll and keeping your roll equals worse. And it says you can reroll any 1d20 roll. You could even roll another person's d20 roll. So.
Yeah.
So you make it from a 27 to a 24.
So it probably still hits me. Yeah.
More than likely.
Turns out I rolled the wrong dice anyway, so
Does that mean I get a third roll just out of sheer?
it
The
does.
problem with that is you're risking him actually rolling a 20.
19 plus 6 is 25 points of damage. Plus 14 slashing, 5 damage. So it's 19 slashing and 14 fire.
So.
I'm not 33 if you haven't got the-
Sorry,
So 20,
so it
35
was 25 slashing, 25 slashing, 14 fire.
25.
39 total?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this.
Okay.
Now
But
someone
yes.
tell me what minus 113 minus 39 is.
But you can always just keep track of your damage up.
Yeah, if it
Yeah.
equals 113, then I know.
Yeah. Okay, so
And if you write down 39,
Yeah, I've done that.
Tolicus has been taken down to the Chamber of Gold.
Yeah.
That brings us to Lull.
Lani's with you now.
Excellent.
Keep in mind, we don't know what the archaeologist said.
So what was that?
We don't know what the archaeologist said.
No, we don't.
We just know we give up something valuable.
Yeah.
And you start. You do have the bard down here with you,
Should him up.
and behind you up the stairs, you see the door start to close.
Why?
But that's where the Ifrit is, isn't it? We're going to have to do the same trick to get out again. But if the door closes, the Ifrit may not be able to get through it.
Well, they were. You were told that they were there to stop you getting out.
Yeah. So it's not going to worry too much if we're still inside.
The question is...
because there's no one holding the door open outside anymore. so-
Yeah.
Exactly. And we can't afford to because it's right there.
Yeah. Because if you were to leave the guard up there, the Ifrit might murder him. Even if he doesn't try to leave.
Yeah.
Because we don't know that, do we? If he just stands there passive and doesn't try to leave, whether
Well-
or not the Ifrit will leave him alone.
We-
Most of them will.
Yeah. Well, Ifrits are generally considered to be not very nice people, so it might mess with him just cause.
Probably why he came down.
No blue ones?
Yeah. We still have to do the giving up thing though.
Yeah. You didn't
And
have to do it before, so did you?
well,
Or,
you've
offering.
still got to do the offering here,
Yeah.
because otherwise it'll mess the room up.
Yeah.
When you check the icons, just make sure your room is exactly the same as the other
I
one.
was gonna
There
say,
is-
from my perception, I would have
Yep.
my turn would have shared that
Yeah.
the room seems to be you give up
All your worldly possessions.
a worldly possession to move on to the next room.
Well, A or all.
Well, from the looks of things, from her perspective, it's you give up all your worldly goods to move on to the afterlife.
Yes, but we're not moving to the afterlife, but we still need to give something up for the room.
It seems to be
Or it
reasonable.
might be there.
So, I mean,
At least being nice to it.
because you've seen all the icons and things.
And you do know that most of the interpretations have been slightly out.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
You know that, and you also know that for all of the other rooms we had to do in honor of someone who
Yeah.
passed. So, whether or not Lull can put two and two together.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned the thing about, well, we knew about the honour thing.
Yeah.
And this is it's a room full of stuff that people have left behind, so giving up that. I do. Okay, it's not money, so I can sort of get my head around, yes, I'm going to give this up. I'm going to give up that +1 dagger. And it's not much, but it's still valuable.
But how does it honour?
And who's honouring?
And I'll be doing it to honour. I've got any number of them here. I met some of them. I summoned the bastards.
You also met Raphael.
Well, yeah, there's that too. In fact, honouring him would be actually pretty cool, and a dagger would suit him.
Or you could buy Ixion.
Is he supposed to be Ixion's relics?
Everything here
Yeah.
seems to be made out of gold.
That's true. Which means I should be giving up something gold, not the dagger.
And Ixion's known for the colour gold and the
Yeah.
sun. And
This means I'm going to have to give
What
up
coffee
money.
beans are they gold?
what was that?
What coffee beans are they gold?
Probably not.
No.
It might be a gold blend.
Oh, if we ever
I
find...
do have a gold blend actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, if we ever find coffee for you that's got flakes of gold leaf in it, you'd just be all over that as a dragon.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be gold. Fuck. Get out from my pouch a handful of gold. I'll give a appropriate dedication to both Raphael and Ixion as a sacrifice of my gold.
Give me a religion roll.
Well, I'm going to do it appropriately, video.
You don't get disadvantage or advantage because you don't really want to give it up, but you have to.
Yes. Yeah, it should get to about 20. Religion. Oh, no, 18.
Okay, you hear a gong sound as you do that.
Good noise.
You don't know.
I'm not
And then
sure.
we move over to
Because
Lonnie.
the other noises were at different doors and I wasn't there.
You've seen that Lull seems to have given up some gold.
Lull gave up gold. There was
And
a dong.
a dog. Who's been drawing on the walls?
I know, right? A gong. Yeah, a gong. No. And I can see that they opened
The other door has closed by this stage.
It's closed now.
Didn't take long to close.
They generally don't.
Can I hold my actions?
To see what happens?
Standing ready,
You can.
just in case the thing comes closer.
You can. Because you can't see the flame at this stage because it's on the other side of the door. Trolicus, you're in a room full of treasures beyond imagination.
All the monies. Including some fresh stuff that's still warm.
Not in this one. He's in the other one.
And other pictures to put a room to see if there's any up to what I'm meant to do here. Because no one said anything.
Give me a perception roll.
We're going to discuss the thing about
That's a 14 on the dice.
We had discussed the thing about reverence for. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think everyone
Yeah.
had discussed that this was a room of offering rather than taking.
Trolicus wasn't in the room at the time.
Wasn't he?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's 20.
20, you do see the icons around of giving in this room, so you believe everything in here is some form of offering to the gods.
Okay, I pull out my lucky coin, my
And-
Emperor's coin, and flick it into the room.
Okay, and you basically do some sort of performance in relation to the Emperor.
Yeah, flick, do the whole gladiatorial.
I'll give you a performance roll with advantage
Oh, yay.
because it was meaningful to the Emperor.
Oh, fuck's sake.
That doesn't
That's
sound
10.
good.
That's a 10. Okay, so as it tinks through, you basically hear a sound echoing through of a very unpleasant tune.
My
I may even have a. There we go. Okay, so you think something went wrong with that? You hear the door up the stairs shut with a bang. So I will move over to Drachnomir to see if he can save the day.
In this room, is there any furniture, altar, tables, anything like that sort of stuff?
There seems to be some far end of the room. You happen to cross most of the treasures to reach it. To the south of you, where you came in through the east wall. But to the south, there seems to be some sort of glow that's lit the room up. That appears to be some sort of pit of some kind, which apparently Trolicus tossed his coin into.
Right. Because basically, Dracula was taking a look around to see if there was originally a spot where people would place their offerings, as opposed to the, hey, we just filled the whole room with offerings.
Well, you have a feeling you have to carefully step around the offerings. Wherever they've put the offerings has all been piled up.
So, because basically what Dracula is looking for is a clear space where he can effectively conduct a small prayer, concentrate type effect to Atruaghin over the space before placing down one of the two tomahawks, stone-headed tomahawks that Dracula has carried from the beginning of his journeys, and which is the favoured weapon of
Atruaghin.
Atruaghin, in that sort of way. He won't put down the tomahawk that's become got infected or modified or afflicted by the elven nymph in the thing. He'll put down the
Pure
clean
one. Okay,
Untainted.
give me a religion roll as you find a space you think you can do it in.
17 plus 28 total.
28. Okay, you lay it down and you hear a gong sound. And the door beside you start to slide open. With more stairs going down into a large chamber.
Okay. And half the gold starts rushing down the stairs because the doors it was piled up so much.
Doesn't seem to make the treasure move that much because the treasure is wasn't piled up against the door. Whoever had last been through here didn't actually make that mistake. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made it through here. So yes, the door opens, and that would probably be the end of your turn, having spent your prayer, unless you'd like to dash through.
And I'm happy that was a full round of activity.
So Calcrix, you see that Drachnomir has made an offering, and doors below her have opened.
And has the door between me and the fridge shut?
It has between you and the Ifrit shut,
I'm
yes.
not being attacked anymore?
You're not being attacked anymore, but you did manage to save Trolicus.
Who's down the stairs, I'm guessing?
Who's with you?
Okay.
Because you brought Trolicus back
Yeah,
down again.
I kind of shoved him behind me though, so I didn't know if on his turn he moved further into that room, or he hasn't had that turn yet, maybe.
No, he made his offering.
Yeah.
Trolicus made the unfortunate cry.
Well, considering I'm dragon-sized, I will gently move Trolicus downstairs into the room, and then I will finish making the offering I was about to make before.
Well, you're already in the room. You don't have to continue.
Okay, so you don't have to go down the stairs? You made it sound like there was a lot of stairs.
There was a lot of stairs, but you had the movement to go up and down the stairs.
Okay. Alright. Fair enough.
So, yeah, like, this is the
If we're-
transition room. This is your treasure room. This is the next room.
It comes back to my incapacity to visualize.
So you could move roughly 40 feet with your movement, and it was 20 feet up, 20 feet back.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll just finish my
What was your
offering
offering?
up my scales that I originally
What?
offered up when the
Oh,
door opened.
The inner door has opened, going down further.
Has it?
Yes.
So we don't have to do any more offerings?
Technically, only one person has to make an offering
Yeah.
to open the door.
Well, on the off chance that we might have to make other offerings, I will hold my movement, hold my action, I guess, and just wait by Drachnamar.
Okay. I will skip Lull and go to Lani. You see the door beside you open up. Do you grab Lull and dash down?
Yeah.
Dashing is.
I'll just gently
Sorry.
guide Lull down. Be like, alright, buddy. It's all you. Do I see across the room?
You don't, because there's something in the middle of the room,
There's something.
Uh-oh.
and it's well lit. It appears to be like you've seen the other 4 gateways to the afterlife. There is one of those in here, filling the center of the room.
course
Each
it is.
one filled the center of
so
their
I guess
rooms.
then, as we're walking down, I'll pay close attention to the walls to see if there's any instructions on the walls.
Okay. So, as you're coming down, there are none on the stairwell. This is one of the ones that didn't have anything else down here.
Right.
And I will go over to Trolicus.
The door's open.
Did the archaeologist go down the stairs on our side yet?
She did, yeah. She's the one who told you that it was an offering to the person, not a offering of yourself.
Yeah. So that's the so it's not to confirm that yeah. Her action has already occurred before Trolicus is going down, so she's already moved down, and we've just got Trolicus, Caltrix, and Atruaghin left in our room. Is that right?
She's still in the room with the treasure. She goes after Trolicus.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm going to move downstairs.
And the archaeologist follows you down.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear the sounds of people moving on the other side of the chamber, even though you can't see them.
Is my held action can I follow?
Throw a dagger towards the noise. Oh,
Magic missile the noise! Magic missile the noise!
A magic missile of the darkness.
the darkness. I just moved down.
Yep.
But I'll put my goggles on. Let's start.
Okay. As all of you make it down, the doors behind to the treasure room start to close as the last of you steps on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see... Yep.
Did Trolicus make his sleight of hand to gather up a pouch full of gold on his way through?
Is
I'll
he
make it
great?
real safe. Oh, no, bugger it, I'm a gambler. I'll take the risk.
You'll take the risk.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's a 14 on a dice. That's better. It's better.
It was all going so smoothly.
Go by Jeremy, because I didn't think about it.
It was all going so smoothly.
Yes.
That's a 23.
Okay, and it was a sleight of hand to try to take something?
Yeah.
Okay, so as your hand hits the offering, you feel something feeling like molten metal has just hit your hand.
Oh.
And your hand has stuck.
Oh.
That's alright.
And as that happens, the doorway you're about to step through slides down.
I was really came down before everybody else, so I've trapped us all in here.
Yes. And then at the far end of the room, that thing you tossed your coin into, you see a pillar of flame start to rise up it.
Awesome. I'm Jeremy, guys.
And as it is 11:15, we'll finish the night on that point.
Yes, we will.
As a pillar of flame enters the room. It was basically if anyone picked up an item here.
Yes.
I thought he'd gotten through all of that. He'd seen it was a thing of offering. He wasn't interested.
He knew
But
better.
suddenly he's ruling.
But
No, not possible. But no, it is.
but gambler.
I would gamble.
Yeah,
I'm taking
I
a risk. I'm
So-
good enough to
You would
trick.
think that you would have learned from the last time you did this, which is, oh, yeah, here's this creepy island that you know you're not strong enough to get to. I'm gonna look at it.
I personally wasn't going to do it, and Jeremy made me.
Yes. Oh, as a player, I absolutely take responsibility.
There you go. It's Jeremy's fault.
We're just going to be fighting another big fiery thing.
Yeah, good luck. We're gonna be over there. We're gonna be in the middle of the room just chilling while we're waiting on you guys.
I was going to say, actually, yeah.
This is
Lull
awesome.
and Barney are fine.
So I'll give a little bit of a hint to the other side. As you go down the stairs, the door behind you slams shut with a sound of well, I may as well give you the same noise again. And
in that moment,
everybody looks at
Calcrix
him.
looks upwards and says to both the Queen of Darkness and the Old One, "Why me?"
and Lani and Lull see the walls in front of that around that chamber itself just seem to fade, and you see what appears to be a throne and some sort of mummified form sitting on top of the throne looking in your direction.
Not just facing our direction, it looks at us,
It
right?
turns and looks in your direction.
Possibly a lich.
Liches can be
Yeah.
mummified forms, as can mummies and mummy lords and a few other things along those lines.
Yes.
But that would be a good place to finish tonight.
Could be very powerful magic.
Yeah, I would say more mummy because it's
Anyway.
a tomb. So. But we're stuffed a bit.
Maybe it could be a good one.
Maybe,
We'll
maybe.
fight the good fight against the
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We could try and recruit him, certainly.
I don't see why you wouldn't try.
How many 20s do both of us need to get?
I still say this one is going to roll the dice over a few lousy coins.
Though
You should at least roll the dice over
Calcrix
recruiting
did
the
hold
money.
her action. Would you like to have jumped through the door as it started to shut, or and join the others down the stairs, or be in the room with the flame starting to rise, and deal with Tolicus's mistake?
Is Tolicus in there by himself?
No, he's got the archaeologist and Drachnamir
In the lower.
in the gold chamber.
So,
Can I hold my decision for next game?
You can hold your decision until next
Absolutely.
game, but I thought I'd give you the option considering you did hold your action.
Yeah.
You could
So-
look for the door.
So the first thing we do next session is what you decide to do.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. I'm just.
Well,
I just
you're the
need
one with
time
held
to
action.
think.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, Jeremy.
See you, Jeremy.
DJ.
Okay, Martin, tomorrow night I will be very late if I get on.
Yeah, understandable.
Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next week or the week after.
We'll see ya.
Good night, all.
See you later.
Can't sleep tonight, and then Jeremy just goes, yeah, that's an idea.
And you went, okay.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to wake yourself up.
Well,
One of
no,
them
like I
is
said, the
this
problem is, he is a gambler. He's actually
Yeah.
got his...
I find if you are finding